Under the velvet, the stars take their stand. Orion above, with the night in his hand. Under Orion's gaze, the stillness hums, a quiet song where the silence drums. The belt of stars, they shimmer and gleam, holding the night in a frozen dream. Trees stand like shadows, frozen and tall, echoes of silence, no sound at all. The stars burn like fire, but their touch is so cold. Orion watches, his story retold. 3 stars in a row, a map in the sky, guiding the lost as the hours pass by. The hunter stands still, yet he's moving through time, a silent reminder of something divine. Under Orion's gaze, the stillness hums, a quiet song where the silence drums. The belt of stars, they shimmer and gleam, holding the night in a frozen dream. The snow keeps its secret, the stars hold their line. Orion stands watch in the heart of the night. The brilliance above, a tale etched in space. We find our place.
And welcome everyone to Skytour Livestream. It is me, Marc Dantonio. At least I think I'm me. Yep, I'm me. I want to welcome folks here who are joined us for the first time, and to our Y-File friends who have joined us from the Y-Files. I am enjoying. I was enjoying our music. Those songs you're hearing at the beginning, it's from our album that we wrote and composed called Rising, and it's free to all members who are in the Patreon that are paid members. And I'm really glad to see that a lot of you are here. I have to thank those of you that have joined the Patreon. I'll be putting your names into our list and making sure that I give you the shout outs that you so richly deserve. We couldn't do this without you, of course. And so I'm going to make sure that we do that. And also, we're just waiting for the sky to get a little bit darker. I know that's misleading up there. It's actually still, you can see blue sky out there right now. But when we're in this mode, where we have the night vision infrared on, it actually kind of looks a little different. So I'm gonna just play with this a little bit. Try and do a manual focus job here. Why not, right? That's pretty close. Let's go one more. And so I'm going to look at a bunch of things tonight. Different from last time. The universe always has so much more to offer. There's no reason to, keep looking at the same things, right? We can always see something different, and that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to look at other things. Things that are just a lot more excitement that we always seem to bring up with Sky Tour. So let's see if I got news for anybody. What do I got for news? Well, first of all, let me just welcome some of you guys here, because it's nice to see you here. And this was why. I don't want the camera in still mode. Okay, just a minute. I must have hit a button. Okay, let's stop this. All right, here we go. I hit a button by accident. Of course, when you got a telescope 2,600 miles away in a building, and you're in Connecticut and the telescope's in Arizona, little things like this make you go, "What? What happened? Huh? What happened? Fix!" But luckily, hopefully it's pretty bulletproof. So, as I was saying, I want to say hi to folks. Sally Forth is with us. Hello, Sally Forth. Dom Saracina's with us. He's cool. He says, "Is this the place?" Yeah, it is. And he found out from Cornucopia. And then Lori and LDP's with us. Yeah, Cornucopia, of course. That's a cool name. Sam S., nice to see you. Earth Mama Living, nice to see you again here. I think you were here. And you're in Phoenix. Okay, yeah, that's Jackie from Phoenix, Arizona. You are... well, this telescope's in Benson, so however long it takes you to get to Benson, that's how long it would take you to get to this telescope you see right here. And the other one's out in the Sonoran, so that one is an hour and a half from you. Okay. However, I'm going to say this. We are consolidating. We're taking the telescope out of the Sonoran, and we're moving it into another building here on this mountain. Okay, and I'm got a choice to make. I can have another observatory just like this one, okay, on this mountain, or I can move into an 8x12 building that's even larger, and I could put more telescopes and so forth in there. However, it needs some work, and I don't know if I want to wait, because this telescope is going to have to come down when we're doing the move, and I don't want to take this out of the lineup right now. So I'm trying to think of how I'm going to handle it. I know I can initially go into that other building probably, and then move both telescopes at a future point into that other building, and then we'll have a good number on that mountain. And we are sharing it with 9 other professional astronomers, so it's important to kind of make sure that they have what they need too. So as I said, it's still a little bit light out there, so we're gonna just kind of wait out a little bit. I will try to bring up our planetarium and check out a few things. I actually created a list as well, like I always do for tonight, of stuff we're gonna look for And this stuff is going to be interesting, to say the least. And I want to make sure that we have a good, a good darkness. Let's see, where's Measure 3 right now? That's what I thought. So Measure 3 is pretty high up, and it looks like it might be pretty well visible. So let's go there first. We have not seen this one yet. All right, and we're going to go there and check it out. You'll note the telescope moving. Oh, no, you won't, because I have to connect it. I forgot to connect it. Wouldn't you know it? There's always one thing. Ready? And it's connected. There we go. Okay. Now the telescope will move. All right. There we go. So now let's go and tell it to go there. And as you can see, it's moving right there. Telescope is hunting down this cluster that we're looking for right now. Yeah, and here it comes, and it should be in the view. Now, you'll notice that it's still kind of dark, kind of light rather, and we need to be a little more dark. And so once we can get a few, make it a little more dark, we'll be able to actually see a little better what's going on. Let me just do a 5-second photo and see what we've got. And it'll probably be nearby. It looks like it might be right there. Okay, let's try this. Let's try and set it to figure out where it is in the sky. Okay, no, not enough stars yet. Of course, I'm at 100 gain. I'm going to go to 150 and then redo that. And now let's do another. Let's do a 8-second shot. Get more stars in the view. What it does is it grabs the stars that you see, and it literally figures out where it is in the sky. And that's exactly what we want to do. I do that every time we start. It might be just a little bit too light for this to happen yet. In the summertime, there we go, we found it. So now we'll see where we are. Okay, so you'll see the globular cluster right here within just about 8 seconds. It's already in there. All right, so there it is. Okay, so this is a beautiful globular cluster. These guys are amazing because it's possible that there's so many theories about these, and we don't even know what they are. Now, when I got my astronomy degree, one of the things that we thought they might be at the time was these assemblages of stars, and we noticed that these stars don't have anything else in them for elements because they're star factories, right? I'm sorry, element factories. That's what stars are. So we figured if they have any other elements in them, it means that they've been made with these elements, meaning other stars went supernova to create these elements and release them to the interstellar medium, and then the stars would be made with them. But these guys, right, these guys are strange because they don't have any elements in them other than generally hydrogen and helium. That is exactly the concoction that was made when the universe was formed. You know, hydrogen and some helium, and the hydrogen stars made some helium. So only in the very early universe were stars made that didn't have anything else really in their stellar atmospheres. And so what we're looking at here is a potential object that may very well have been made at the very beginning of time for our galaxy. And that's kind of interesting. You know, let's and this is just a 8-second shot rather. I'm going to take this and we're going to go to a 12-second shot, and we're going to go from this low light mode that we're in to a stacking mode, and this is the new stack here that we see. And this, I'm going to drop this down a little bit. Okay, this stack, right? See how beautiful that looks? This is gorgeous. If we drop that down like this, okay, and then we go full screen with this, you can actually see the detail. These are the stars making this up, and these globular clusters here can have up to 1 million stars in them. You know, they can have a couple 100,000, they could have 1,000,000 in them. And this is what makes these so exciting, you know. Let me finish saying hello to the folks over here because I missed it before. Cosmic Ray is with us. We have Jerry Klein. We have Purple Stricker. Hey, how you doing from Hickory, North Carolina? Yeah, if you guys are here, let me know where you're from too. And the Goblin said, "Good evening. I listened to you on Coast to Coast the other night. Great show as usual." Well, thank you. That's kind. Very nice. And Laureate LDP, Ronald Radio, and Michael Hedrick is here with us. Hi, Michael. Donna Kunzer, Mundus Flint. Nice to see you as well. Jason Lusk, what's going on, man? He says, a lot of grave faces in nebulas like Orion and Carina. There is a big Christian cross with a spear leaning against it in the Carina Nebula. Well, if you're talking about what you see when you look at the nebula. Oh, sorry, I'm taking photos and there's a little wind, so I'm the stack here got blown. So I'm sorry about that. I should have put on my full width half maximum filter and my alignment. So let's see. We can do this over. It's not a big deal. We'll get that to work. Yeah, and so let's see. Dom Saracino, nice. Like I said, I talked to you before. That's great. And I want to take this. Okay, Earth Radio said Hercules. No, this is not. This is Measure 3, Ronald. If we look over at our planetarium, this is Measure 3 right here. See? Okay, and it's a globular. Now, what's interesting about it is these are objects that are known as, halo objects. They orbit the galaxy as a whole. Okay, they go galactic north and south as well. So they're not confined to the disk of the galaxy at all. All right, that's what sets them apart, as a matter of fact. And this one is actually pretty far out there. It's 32,000 light years away. So you're seeing this as it was 32,000 years ago. Pretty cool. Rascally Rabbit's with us. And Jerry says, watching from Southwest Florida. Hey, that's cool. Neato. Like Clearwater, that region, Tampa. And then, let's see, who else is leave us? I said that. I said that, yep. Yeah. Nice. C&D, hey, that's Bob. How you doing, Bob? Yeah, it's nice to see everybody here. Thanks for coming out. If you guys know people that like astronomy or would be willing to or excited about it, just have them join us. It costs nothing. I mean, for a zero cost, you can get all these images, and I think that's a pretty fair deal. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. Could not align. Yeah, it's not dark enough. I don't get why it does that sometimes. But I can do this, and it will align. Yeah, see there. Boom. Yeah, see, I can do that. Okay. We got... I'm also being a fool because I haven't connected our guiding system. No wonder it's not working. My apologies. I'm trying to get stuff ready, and I missed the important stuff. I'm going to go down to 1 second here. Let's grab a guide star, and we're going to get out of this. See, that's sky brightness that's causing that right there. But let's see if we have any stars showing up yet. Not there. Maybe with 2 seconds. Let's try that. All right. Yeah, no, not showing up yet. Oh wait, we got one. Oh, a satellite just went through our guide. There it is. Okay, let's try this. See if it finds that star. It did find those. All right, let's do it again. See if it finds some of these others. Okay, I think you can guide on this one right here. Yeah, it's going to be tricky because the sky brightness is such that it's not that able to guide yet. So we're going to just wait that out. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Oh, look at how beautiful that looks, right? That is beautiful. Yeah. And we're guiding. That's a beautiful shot. So I am going to I want to put this in, but I got to be careful. I'm going to pause this right now for a moment. I'm going to do an annotation here so we know where we are. I'm going to make that the target name. It's Measure 3. And then we'll come out. Okay, and now I'll resume. Actually, I'm going to save it. So we have this one image. We have two images stacked here, actually. And then we'll save it exactly as seen. So you get exactly what you see here, but in larger format. Okay, now we'll resume and see what we get. And we look here. Yeah, see, we had some files that didn't. Okay, so that one worked. Okay. Well, I know why, because I paused them. Okay, so Measure 3 then, being 30+ thousand light years away, you're seeing it as it was, like I said back then. We basically are taking this an image, and I want to mention too that another astronomer in the chat here said something interesting, because this is one of the things we thought of as well in astronomy, and that's, I think, what's being repeated there. It's thought that maybe globular clusters could be what are called dwarf galaxies that the Milky Way absorbed, and these are like the cores left over. I'm not so fond of that particular thought process, and there's a reason, and it's because when we look at other galaxies, we see a lot of these halo galaxy or globulars in a lot of them. Measure 33, Andromeda Galaxy, our galaxy. That's a lot of dwarf galaxies. So I could understand maybe 6 or 8 of them throughout evolution of the universe, but not the sheer number we see. So I'm questioning that. But I mean, it is a good theory, and another astronomer, you're absolutely right. This is something that is the process. Why? Because we don't understand in the, I should say, it's a thought process, because we don't actually know. It'd be great if we could find out, but right now we don't really know. They are mysterious, no doubt about it. I'm going to pull our dark level back before the curve, guys, so I can kind of reduce the contrast just a little bit. You'll notice that color, that's the sunset color creeping into our image. If I color correct, okay, it'll go away. All right, and so that's what I'm doing there. So we have, as you can see, 2 satellites that came through, one there, one there. Now, you see me looking, I say this all the time, I'm looking here, and you think I'm looking away from that image there. I'm seeing that image, okay? This is the observatory feed. This is the broadcast feed. I pay attention to the observatory feed because all things happen there first. So that's cool. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and Cosmic Ray is also imaging Measure 3 as well. Very nice. And then we have, is that Labrador Mom? Let me guess, you have labs. Yeah, I had a Lab Pitbull Shepherd mix. She was the dog that was dumb as a post and had no idea how strong her bite was. I'm not kidding. Great dog, Indy, I-N-D-I. Wow. Yep. And she would always fight with our dingo. I got a Australian cattle dog named Dingo at the time. Both have passed on, unfortunately. but it's okay. I gave them each 14 years of life that they wouldn't have had. Dingo was taken in a drug bust, actually. And I ended up with her, and she turned out to be the most protective, loyal animal you could ever have, So yeah, so we got 20 images stacked here. That's a 4-minute set, a 4-minute photograph of this globular. And when you take 4-minute images, it helps you, or at least 20 frames to begin with. What that does is it gives you the ability to remove a lot of the noise from the image. So now you can zoom in and see all these stars, okay? But the thing that's interesting is if we do this, we just drop that down again, right there. You can see now that you can see more detail in here. You can see all these supplemental stars hiding. Remember, it's three-dimensional. It goes around the back too, so there's stuff on the back as well as the front, okay? And that is something that's really interesting. And Labrador Mom's from Washington State. Wow. You're gifted a Costco telescope, but it's still in the box for 2 years. Been in the box. You're in the light polluted burbs. Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, Labrador Mom. Tell you right now. Here's something you can do. There are filters that you can use to put in your eyepiece so that when you look through them, some of the light pollution is removed from your view, and you'll be able to actually see things you didn't expect to see. Now, if you want to do photography, well, all you got to do is go to skytourlive.org. Okay, I moved my camera, so I'm pointing in all different directions or different places now. So go to skytourlive.org, right there. Okay, and you can contact me, and I'll tell you what you need to do for that particular telescope if you tell me what it is. Okay, and I'll help you get into that. Hey, Be in the Shadows, how are you? Nice to see you here. Cosmic Ray says, ever thought of including other imaging streams on the broadcast? No, I'm doing our stream. Considering I'm doing 8 things at once right now, I think that's probably wise to make sure you keep track of the telescopes you're using. For instance, now when I have the second scope up and running, I will often bring that up and show that as a separate feed, and we normally will do that, but not typically. Augie's with us. How you doing, Augie? Augie Nost, nice to see you. He says, are you able to see any indication of planets around any of the stars, I think you're saying? Fluctuations in light, etc. Not yet, but guess what? And I keep saying this, we've been doing it, but it's slow to happen. These things are coming from France. We're getting a spectrograph, I should say, that we're attaching to one of our scopes, and we're going to be able to do something like that. We're going to be able to do that. In fact, I'm working with Las Cumbres observatories, which are these big observatories all over the world, and we're doing exoplanet study there, and it's really neat to see what they're producing with the data that they're looking. They're using test data, transiting exoplanet survey satellite data, and it's really cool, we haven't actually done our own sessions yet on Las Cumbres, but we do have a number of hours of time on these scopes, so it's kind of interesting to watch this. Okay, I'm going to save this one more time, and then we'll move to a new object, because this is your object you do when you're waiting for the sky to get dark, because it's stars. They're bright enough that they can be seen, and not a nebula that needs darkness. Cool. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll come back now, go back to our low light mode right here, and there it is. That's what it looks like in low light mode. And so we'll come now to our planetarium view, all right? And one of the other things I wanted to look at, okay, let's see where this is right now. Yeah, it's low right now, so that's not going to work. I was hoping it was still just a bit higher. How about this guy? Let's check him out. Yeah, he's kind of low. Oh yeah, he's very low in the northwest. So we're probably gonna have to avoid that guy too. It'll be in the murk, and we don't want murk. But this guy, oh, look at that. You see that? That rainbow? That was a light cloud passing overhead. And let's go see. Let's take this and do this. Okay, so this is not our sky, our all sky. It's an all sky. It's out at the observatories, and we're going to actually add our own. We started taking it down yesterday out in the Sonoran, and it's going to be added out here. So we're going to have a much more beautiful, all sky view to use, and it's going to have all kinds of writing on it, nomenclature, so you can see what's going on and where it's happening and all that. Okay, so now let's come back here and let's go into this guy, and I'm going to back out of this for a minute. Alright, now we have a lot. Now this is up in the northern reaches here, and we're kind of, this stuff's coming up. Alright, but I want to get us to this area. Now we are where M3 is, okay, and we don't want to deal with anything low to the horizon, so I'm just going to grab us something else here. Actually, you know what? Since Ronald asked, why don't I? Let's go look at Messier 13, which is another globular cluster, but it's actually in the constellation Hercules. Alright, so let's zoom out of this, go to our full screen here. Alright, and you can see that the telescope is moving rather. Yeah, there it is, right there. Okay, so it's down near the horizon, and that's something we want to not have to deal with, right? So let's see about, let's see if we can get any kind of a guide star on. Well, actually, first, let's move this up into the view. Yeah, here we go. And you'll see objects flying around in the view here. Those are insects seen on the infrared light, this infrared light that you see here. It's pitch black out there. You wouldn't be able to see if you use your eyes to just look at things without a special camera. Okay. Alright, so let's do this. Let's move this over. This cluster is called the Great Star Cluster in Hercules, Messier 13. Again, globular cluster. And as another astronomer mentioned, it's a cluster that could very well be the core of an ancient galaxy that was subsumed by our Milky Way, but we don't actually know. So let's see if we can get a guide star down that low. Maybe, maybe not, but we'll see. Yeah, we got one. Look at that. Let's see if we can find them. Yep, perfect. That'll work. See this tortured looking curve? It would be ideally round, but because it's low to the horizon, relatively speaking, it's gonna be tougher to see. Let's just do a 15-second photo of this guy. So I started that underway. I made this exposure 15 seconds, and our gain, the sensitivity of our sensor, is at 150. You can go to 600, and I'll tell you in a moment why I won't go to 600. All right, the reason is because if we go to 6, look at that. Look at how it looks because of the being near the horizon. That's what I talk about with murk. You know, it's tough to have the murk in the way. But I want to show you what that looks like. Oh, plane flew. That's a plane that flew through there. Yeah, see, it looks red because it's near the horizon, looking through more light. Okay, and it's actually in the northeast, so we actually see more murk in there. Now, if I try to color correct that, okay, it kind of does, but doesn't do a great job. And as you can see, it's still not guiding very well, and it makes that problematic. So let's see if we can get another. When it's lower to the horizon, you just can't count on stars being stable, so it's hard. So we're not going to keep this. I'm just trying to show you that's Messier 13. Let's go back now and take our telescope to another object that I wanted to show you. And that is this guy. Where'd he go? He should be here. There it is. Okay, this. Oh, he's really low to the ground. Unfortunately, that's no good. Johnny, I can't talk to you now. Alright. I have to say no to Johnny. Johnny Enoch was calling me. He's good friend, good buddy. And he's always got his finger on the pulse of many things going on. Well, since we're here, let's go to Jupiter and do that. Okay, the telescope's going to now move and head over to near the western horizon. I always like to check out Jupiter because Jupiter shows us some really neat things. Things like the shadow of Io moving across the face. We've seen that a number of times together. Let's see what it looks like tonight. Now, it's a little low to the horizon. It's only 20-something degrees above the horizon. But, you know, it actually, yeah, about 25. Yeah, so that'll be high enough to see something interesting, I think. And, all right, so now we can actually find our way with this. So let's do a 4-second shot. And then while I'm doing it, I can try to see if we can grab it. That's what I'll do. Yeah, certainly found it. Now, beware, it's going to be bright. Here it comes. Okay. So now this is really bright. So first things first, turn down the gain. Okay, drop the sensitivity of the sensor. These are the 4 Galilean satellites, okay? It'll probably be, I'm going to guess, Io, Europa, and Ganymede and Callisto. Let's find out. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. Though this might be Europa. It might be the other way around. Let's find out. This actually is a very nice map of the moons around Jupiter. Let's go zoom in on this. Let's actually center it up. Okay. Okay, so it's Europa. Okay, Io is this one. Okay, and this is Callisto, like I thought. But then we have Europa and then Ganymede out here. Ganymede is the largest moon in the solar system. It's larger than the planet Mercury, guys. And if that was where, if that was where, you know, Mercury was, it'd be a bigger planet, you know, in that location. And if it wasn't around Jupiter, it'd be a planet in its own right. That's how big it is. You know, now let's actually drop down to a few milliseconds because I want to try and get some of the. I don't want 25 seconds. I want 25 milliseconds. So 25 ms, and let's do that. Okay, and then we get it smaller. And now what we can do is drop it back until we start to see some detail on the surface. Okay. Alright, that's 3, 1.56. And go back a little more. Now because it's low, we're probably not going to see a whole lot of detail. Okay, but I will zoom in. Okay. So you can see some of the cloud bands. On a good night, we can see a lot of them, and when it's high in the sky, it's a little better. But let's actually do a planetary stack here. It's moving around, so it probably won't be very clear. Yeah, exactly. Of course, this has to come down. All right. So now let's get out of this for a second. Let's bring this up, and we should begin to see the disk showing up. Saturn is beautiful in this telescope as well. Yeah, it's definitely murked out. That's why it's moving around, because the air cells are so turbulent. Okay, but if we try to stack it, do a planetary stack, it may come out. Yeah, see, when there's the red spot, at least we can see the red spot. Look at that. Nice. Yeah, this isn't bad actually. It actually turned out okay because we're stacking in a way that doesn't. It aligns. So look at how bright the red spot is. That's nice. Boom, that's nice. Okay, we're gonna. I wasn't thinking I was gonna save it because it was in the murk, but it actually doesn't look that bad. Okay, we've stacked 60 and we're going to keep going. We're going to stack 100 frames here. But we can save it as a ping now, which we did. Look how red the red spot is. That's pretty. Here it is, Jupiter in its red spot. Yeah. Nice. Hi, Janine. Hello from Kansas, she says. Well, it's nice to see you. You know, I was at the in Arkansas last weekend to do a keynote speech at the Ozark Mountain UFO Conference. And it was very funny because I asked the lady there, one of the ladies there, Claire was her name, sweet girl. I said, Claire, why is it pronounced Arkansas and not Arkansas? And somebody else sitting there at the tables laughed, and she said, I'm from Kansas. I agree with you. Yeah, it should be Arkansas. And actually, there, if you look it up, you can see that there's actually a very, very good reason why it's pronounced differently. There's a whole culture and history to that. I'm going to move this camera just a bit because I don't... There we go. Yeah, that's better. All right. Yeah, not bad, huh? Let's see how close we can get. Mundus, man, thank you. Look at that. That isn't bad for something close to the horizon, is it? You know, not bad. I say close to the horizon. It's still 25 degrees up. That's cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the stack, and we're going to do this all over again. First one's going to be ugly. And this is what stacking does. The more images you take, align, and stack, the more noise gets removed. That's why this looks better every second. Look at that. Very, very nice. Wow. Let me auto adjust the color and brightness and see what it does. Just dims it a little bit, which is good. Isn't that neat, guys? You can see this little dash here. It's aligning these images, so it's trying to line the images up so that they're perfectly aligned. And it doesn't care about the other stars or other moons around it. So that's why it looks like this. You can almost see detail inside the great red spot here. Look at that. Let's go way more than we should. Yeah. See that ring? That's not real. Let me see if I can de-ring. Remove the ring. Do this. Yeah, no, it's not the best way to do it. That's a little better. That's interesting. Alright, let's pull out of there. You can see that ring. If I undo this, let's auto sharpen. Right? Now you say, oh, that looks ugly. But if we sharpen it more, it'll start to take on another life of its own. If I do this guy, okay, you can see how I'm sharpening basically different elements of this image. And I gotta just do just enough to keep that ringing around the edges out. Okay, so that's good. So now the fine detail. We do the fine detail. Alright, and now you'll see the fine detail. Then we can zoom out a little bit. Okay, see that? Nice. Not bad. Denoise, how much would that do me? Takes a little of the noise away, but we need some of it. Great. Again, Mundus, thank you so much. That is really cool. And he says, thank you for bringing us these star parties. Hey, you know what? That's a good way to think about it. It is a star party, isn't it? Yeah, it really is. Hey, Gino, what's going on, man? I think that's... are you the Gino I'm thinking you are? Nice to see you, man. Okay. And then we have Ken. Ken from Texas. Nice to see you, Ken. Yeah. And then we have a few people here. As I said, oh, and then we have Roz. Roz. Oh, OZ. Oh, hey, wait a minute. Ozrod, MD. Either that or OZR ODMD. Are you an eye doctor? I don't know. I like trying to figure out the names. Yeah, this one here, we're going to reset. We'll do it again. And let this do its thing. Alright, we're going to do level 3 out to here. Level 2, a little less. And then the fines, we'll pull those in. A little back up here. Tim F's with us. Good to see you, Tim. Aurelio, what's going on? Aurelio Miraca from Danbury, Connecticut. Robert Very, nice to see you. Exactly. Why isn't Kansas Kansas? Exactly. It's the opposite way what I was saying. That's right. You know, very good. And that's Gino. Yeah, it is Gino. Welcome, Gino. He's from Y-Files. He's out there in the chat. So say hi to Gino from Y-Files. He's joining us. He's a great guy. He's actually, you know, he gave us the opportunity, or helped us get the opportunity, in fact, to get on the Basement Podcast, which is a Y-Files broadcast. And so that was really cool. Very, very nice. You know, and so I'm indebted to him and very grateful. So make sure you say hi to him. Okay, let's auto sharpen more now. Okay, and let's now... This guy here is probably going to be a little bit better. Cornucopia is saying hi to you, Gino. Okay. Gino, what day are you going to be at Contact? Because I'm coming in on the 27th. So I'm just wondering when you're going to be there. B in the Shadow says, I love the Y-Files and watched AJ and Hecklefish for a long time. I interacted with Hecklefish, but I still can't... I still haven't been able to see that sequence. I was given a not a link to it, but a 1 month pass for the Patreon because I was a guest. But I can't find my Hecklefish thing anywhere. That was fun. I interacted with Hecklefish, you know, and he's a real wise guy. I'll tell you that. Always mouthing off at me. All right, let's bring this guy down. Wow, this is neat. Yeah, that's level 1. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to try level 3 a little higher. Yeah, no, not that. That's pretty cool. Now let's reset this and try it again now. TJ Hooks says, out of the 11 so far based on podcasts, I would say the most interesting and most open-minded, the Fifth Dimension Theory, KK Theory, blew me away. Connects most of the dots thus far. Yeah, you know what? That's true. That's true. And I know that I'm not saying it just because that was my basement podcast that I did with him. But it is the most, I guess, popular talk that I give around the country is this dimensional translation that I think they use to go places. And if we can wrap our heads around string theory and prove it and show that we can actually utilize it, then we would be able to show that this technique is actually, for say 100 years from now, it'd probably be the way that everybody travels, whether you're going to a grocery store or whether you're just going on a mission to Pluto. It's going to be a very, very quick trip using this technique, this process. And I think that's pretty cool, So Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. Okay. And Michael Hedrick asked a question about the size of the core. And I'm going to tell you up front, Mike, it's a bit of a tough slog, okay? Because trying to figure out the size of the core is difficult because we don't have the ability to see the core, right? So we only have a theory as to how the planet formed and all that stuff. But I know that we have the ability to detect certain I guess qualities of the core, and that's something that I think would be very important to consider. I'm going to just do this adjusting again. Okay, but we don't necessarily have a good feel for what the core actually looks like. We think that it's definitely going to be metallic hydrogen. Okay, what's metallic hydrogen? Hydrogen's a gas, Mark. Don't be an idiot. You're saying metallic. Well, if you compress those hydrogen atoms enough, then they literally end up being conductive, right? Because you're compressing them so tightly. So that's why it's called like a metallic hydrogen, you know. The idea of Jupiter having a solid core is still there, but it's also, there's a theory that it has what's called a fuzzy core. So there's a gradual gradation, a gradual reduction in density as it moves out, and not actually a solid edge, but a gradual density, increasing density as it gets toward the center. It might be a rocky core, in fact, but we don't know for sure. So, but there it is. That's our biggest planet of our solar system. I think that's pretty cool. I actually like that the colors, the red spot is brilliant. This is kind of interesting. It's the first night we actually could see the red spot as an actual bright red spot. And that's pretty cool. You know, when I was a kid, I used to take black and white photos of Jupiter, and they would end up looking like that. Wow, look at that. I think that's the red spot, right? But it's actually now much more obvious. We can actually pump that way up, and you see how it rapidly gets out. But what it shows you is the stacking and alignment that's going on. These are the moons. They should be points, but because it's only stacking on Jupiter itself, it's actually allowing those things to dance around a bit in the sky. All right, and so it looks like that. Be in the Shadows says, and hey Jessica S, nice to see you. Sam S as well. Be in the Shadows says, warp drive and light speed travel, as much fun as they would be in Star Trek, wouldn't be the most efficient form of travel because of the power needed to do so. Absolutely true. However, I will tell you this. The whole warp drive concept, as designed by Miguel Alcubierre, okay, in 1994, would basically say that in order to travel from one place to another, imagine a sheet of notebook paper. You fold the two corners together, and you go through that tiny little gap. See that little gap in there? You can't barely. And then you unfold the warp of space, and now you're at that other point. It still takes a while to get somewhere, okay? But you could do Alpha Centauri, for instance, in, say, 5 days. 5 days. Not bad. Okay? However, let's understand that 5 days to Alpha Centauri is not really buying you a whole lot when it comes to a galaxy that's 100,000 light years across. Alpha Centauri is 4 light years away. So even with the Alcubierre drive, how long would it take you to cross the galaxy? Okay, now you see the point. Okay, 100,000 divided by 4, and then times 5 days, and you can see that it's already an astronomical number. So it is not the most efficient way to travel, and yes, you do need a lot of energy to do it, and it's using energy we don't really understand yet. It's sort of like a negative energy type device, and so it's something, there's very little that we have on the books to actually even approach doing something like this. So that said, that's where this other dimensional travel thing comes in. We might be able to get to Jupiter in as little as 27 seconds or 12 seconds, instead of the years it took us to go with conventional chemical rockets, right? Yeah. Yeah, B says like folding space. I heard of that. Yeah, and the biggest challenge there is to understand what is space and how you can actually fold it. Space is not nothingness, as it turns out, and that's a discussion we would have to get into relativity and how that all works. And I guess, and after talking to Gino, in fact, about this stuff, I would have to consider that maybe I will do a standard stream on a particular day of the week and always do that on a particular day of the week, maybe two. And if there are special events, add some. So I'm working on that now to figure out what days of the week might be best. Certainly, it would be best if someone could not have to work the next day and then be able to hang out with us late. But in the summer, I can't start until after midnight Eastern time because it doesn't get dark till after 9 Eastern time. Here. So obviously, I have to go 3 more hours before it gets dark Arizona time. All right. So, starting at midnight is the typical thing that I would do for that. Let's reset the stack and do this one more time. And this is going to be a good one. Watch this. I can see this. Yeah, and so in other words, what we're going to end up doing is we'll probably have 1 or 2 nights that we always stream. But if it's cloudy out in Arizona, which it can be, we'll do something else. I have many, many different types of presentations I could give you, John Proctor's with us. Hey, John. Yeah, it's been a long time. So glad you're here. John's one of our benefactors. Good to see you, brother. Really good to see you. Travis Bickle's with us. Hey, Travis. Yeah. Peter on Y-Files had the 3 knocks like you on Gino's brother's show. Oh, on the basement? Interesting. I think I may have known this. I think AJ may have said this to me. It was 3 series of knocks. It was like ding, 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 ding. Really, that's what I was dealing with. Yeah. Yeah, see, Jerry says, I'd love a standard day and time. We're night owls, so day doesn't matter. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Jerry. I am gonna do that. I'm gonna set up a standardized day that we always stream, or 2, and then make that available. I always have a radio show on Sunday nights from 8 to 10, right? And that show is on the Unexplained network, the UNX network, and it's I came over from another network because the other network just stopped responding. I don't know what happened. So something happened. I don't know what it is. But either way, look, Jupiter looks pretty. I'll save that again, too. All right, so the 8 things at once. Yeah. So I would really like to explore this more. But you'll notice the top here. Notice how this is sort of blue. This is kind of brownish. Okay. Jupiter's colors are coming through very nicely here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little more. Juno is going around the poles of Jupiter, as you know, and when it crosses the poles, as it crosses over one of the poles, it's brilliant blue-colored clouds. And it's like, what makes blue-colored clouds? Well, believe it or not, it's not as much of an impurity as you can think, So, Chino, I'm retired, so I can stay up late. Yeah, right. So, when you look at this blue color, right, there's certain impurities, and it's not a large percentage, but it's enough to stand out against the pure hydrogen aspect of the atmosphere. Okay, the red spot is a different collection of elements. Compounds in here, made up of elements, of course. These are these are all basically contaminants in the atmosphere of Jupiter that are making these colors. And that's another whole show we could do on Jupiter's cloud bands and the contaminants, etc. Wow. That's cool. All right, we're going to save this one more time. And let's hop out of this now. Okay. Notice what it looks like now. You can kind of see the red spot there. But this is without doing any kind of processing, right? So it's nice to see it like this because it helps us understand what's really going on in Jupiter. Okay, now I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna increase, and it's like blowing out your eyes again. Boom, there we go. Okay, so there we go. So now let's go to our system here. We're gonna be way down near the horizon. There we are, and we have let's see, we are in Gemini here. Those are the Gemini twins, Castor and Pollux. You'll see them right here. Okay, Castor and Pollux. Let's not shoot the messenger who drew the pictures. That one doesn't look too exciting, but yeah. So ancient mythology, basically. All right, now let's go take a look now at another cluster that's really neat. Now, one of the things is that you'll notice that if we head toward the west, okay, this way, sorry, we'll notice now that Canis Major, the Orion's hunting dog, is nearly set, and Orion is already set. Okay, so we're actually looking at the end of the winter sky. All right. Now, what's interesting is we have this coming up now, the Omega Centauri cluster. It's way in the murk, but guess what? That's the largest globular cluster in the sky. All right, and it's actually quite a beautiful object. It's probably the most interesting object in the sky, and we can just barely see it. And it's only 15,788 light years away. Okay, and it's almost as high as it gets. So we can try to look at it, but I don't know. We're going to give it a shot. Let's try. All right. So it's going to look right down toward the south now, and it may or may not see it. Again, we'll just give it a shot, right? It'll be in the murk, just like Messier 13 was. Yeah, it's right now. It's actually gonna spin around and do a maneuver that flips it over, so it can actually see toward that southern end of the sky. There it goes, and so we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, see how low it is? Look at that. It's going to be missing, and we can't see it. It's actually looking into the building, So we'll have to wait for it to come up a little higher to see it, and that's okay. Yeah, our view is literally, once it gets to here, it'll be a little higher, and I've seen it with this telescope, so we do have a way to see it. Okay. All right, so now let's go and look at another object that I wanted to show you before. And I'm going to bring us over to here. Let's go here. Okay, right now, the constellation Leo is very high in the sky. There's plenty of galaxies here, but we also have the constellation of Virgo as well coming up, and that'll be over here. Let's back out. There's Spica. Virgo's nice and high in the sky, so now we can actually check out some of the galaxies, because this now at this point in time it's galaxy season here now, and the night sky is actually filled with so many galaxies it's beyond belief. And what we're going to do is go up to Coma Berenices. And this area up here, we're going to check it out. Let me back out a little bit. Yeah, there it is. There's Virgo. So Virgo is good and high in the sky, and then Coma Berenices is right up near the zenith, so that makes it even better. The best views of the galaxies will be when the telescope is pointing almost straight up, because you're looking through less air. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll look at the Black Eye Galaxy. This one is absolutely stunning, and really is one of those eye-catching galaxies that you look at and say, wow, it's just so amazing. And so we're looking at that tonight. We're going to look at that right now. Incidentally, our telescope control, I mean, down here you can actually see the telescope movement here. And so it's right about like this, maybe a little more. Okay. And so we're looking right there at the Black Eye. Let's see if we can grab the Black Eye Galaxy. We'll do a 5-second shot. It's an area where there's few stars, so we'll give it a shot. Okay, let's do this. Let's see if we can align and grab it. Yep, we did. So now green is good. So now it's going to bring in the Black Eye Galaxy right here into the view. And look at that. There it is. You'll like it. I promise you'll like it. The galaxy that we're going to look at has got the most incredible detail in it, which is really phenomenal. Okay, really phenomenal. That's a 5-second. Let's do this. Nice. Okay. All right, so now we're going to do, we're going to find a guide star. All right. And then what we're going to do is, there we got a nice star in there, and we're going to pull this up just to help us. It sees everything we need to see. We're going to grab a guide star, which is not that one. I'm going to grab that one and say guide on that. Okay. That should work. Okay, beautiful. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to come up and do a 25-second photo of this guy, and I'm going to make sure that we're at 150 gain. I'm going to pop it to 200. Okay, so off we go. Now, the higher the gain, the more digital noise you get, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. So this is one of those cases where the gain will be able to be tolerated because the galaxy's got enough detail coming. So let's put this in our stack shot here, our stack view. We're going to fit the height in here. There it is. Now wait until you see this. This is over processed. Boom, look at that. So now we're actually seeing this beautiful object, color corrected. Now notice this black eye in this galaxy. Basically, this is the name. This is what gave it its name. Very, very cool. You know, man. Yeah, and Gino's got a Virgo birth. He's a Virgo himself. September. Yep. I was October 1960, Gino. So hey, not far away, man. You were born a month before me. Neat. All right. So now as we get more images stacked, we have 3 now. Notice that you start to see more detail in here. This is going to be a very, very detailed image. And I'm going to move this off the black level here just to take out grab some detail. I'm going to move this mid-range down. What am I doing? Okay, these are the curves, the red, green, and blue curves. You see them there. If I color correct, then what that does is it moves the curves underneath each other perfectly to help make the sky proper color. All right, and then so if you look, this object here is really, really detailed, and that's because we've stacked 4. Now, this white curve you see here, that's the average of all the red, green, and blue curves. So we work to that. The mid-range, this controls all the subtle data that you see in the background. The closer we bring it, the more data we'll see, right? But if we go too close, well, then it wipes out the data. So you got to pull this down to where you don't see a whole lot of noise. That's right about here. So this is what the image currently supports for being able to process. Okay, but if I actually take this and we got 6 images exposed here. If I come back and just bring this in a little more, we'll be able to move this up and up and up, higher and higher as we get more data. Okay, it's actually pretty cool, you know. So the black eye, as I said, is this guy right there. You can see the black eye in it right there. And that black eye is actually that is dust going around the center, and you can see the spiral arms here of this thing right there. See that? It has these spiral arms. It's like a weatherman. Okay, and the spiral arms are actually really fairly tightly wound, and it looks really cool in here. That's the nucleus of the galaxy. That's where all the old stars are. And now when another astronomer, that's his name in the chat, mentioned that globular clusters might be cores of dwarf galaxies, well, if we could extract all this gas and dust out of this galaxy and just the core, have just the core, it might kind of look like a globular cluster. That's why that's why we thought this was a possibility. All right, now I'm going to zoom in on this to give us an ongoing view as we collect more light. We're light collectors, you know. In fact, one of the interesting things about this is all we ever know about the universe comes from extracting light from the sky. That's it. That's all we know about astronomy, is extracting light from the sky. You'll see here we got this other spiral arm here. You can see this dark lane right here coming around just like this. And we got this little area here. There's a brightening right here, a bright area, and then this dark dust. So the question is, what interacted with this galaxy to give it sort of a lopsided, dusty lane in here? And that's something that we're not exactly sure about, you know. Yep, pretty cool. Cornucopia is giving you a compliment, Gino, and thank you for the great imaging statement. That's nice. Thank you, man. Mundus, talking about gravitational waves. Gravity waves, like from a galaxy or from the sun or a very, very big star, we can't really see yet. We can calculate how much they bend the fabric, but to generate a wave, you have to generate a change in gravity, and that's what happens when two neutron stars collide or merge, or two black holes collide with each other. They actually generate a change in gravity, and that ripples out like dropping a stone in a pond, except it's in 3 dimensions. It's a 3-dimensional sphere of gravitational change that is rippling out, and we can detect that. It's very difficult, but we can, you know. But you would actually have to detect them by having a way to do interferometry. So that means you would build an interferometer complex, and that works with timing of when gravitational waves reach you. And you probably can't do it in a vacuum. You'd have to do it with another observatory some distance away, or else you can't really triangulate where it's coming from. Isn't this pretty? Look at this. That's beautiful. That's really something. And that's pretty realistic colors. Notice that you got this fuzz out here. Let's actually pull this in, over process it just to kind of show that. See how the haze is out here? Those are stars, star clouds way in the outer reaches. You know, pretty interesting. And we're still getting a little red here. So we're getting remnants of the sunset. And that is why we're getting this green cast on here as well. But I can get rid of that easily enough. Yeah. So, when we look at this, then you can start to see detail in here now. That detail is coming because we are stacking. We're at 17 images now. And remember, each image we're taking is actually a 25-second shot. All right? And for this galaxy, that's all we need. That's all we need. We don't need much more than that. So while we're stacking up these, let's go see what else we might want to see in this region. There's a lot of galaxies here. Okay, I know you don't see many right here, but that's because we're not looking at the Corona Borealis cluster of galaxies. Okay, and that's the Coma cluster, and that's going to be up here. There's some up here, and there it is. Look at all those galaxies, and that's pretty high up there. Now they're all small, except for one of them in here. Now I'm thinking maybe what we'll do is we'll center around this guy and just take an image so you can see a view with all these many galaxies. Okay, we'll try that when we get to it in a little bit. Very cool. Very, very neat. A lot happening up there. Yeah, and now this guy is the one. Let's do this. This is another one that is pretty. We'll just look at that. See that one? Would you like to see this guy? This is NGC 4725. It's a spiral, but it has a lengthwise bar in it. And so it's what's called a barred spiral. All right. Neato. Okay, let's see this now. Okay, we're aligning frames. I think we got our last one. Yeah, we got that one got knocked out by the wind. Good thing, because it's the wind made it difficult to capture that one, and that's good. Let's see if the next one comes in. It should be green. There we go. Excellent. So 22. So you stack 22 images, and look what you get. You get a pretty good view here. Let's do an annotation here. This is the Black Eye Galaxy. Let's give it a proper alignment, and then let's now it's Measure 64 as well, so let's make that the target name. Okay, and we'll save it with annotation, so it's going to that directory with this annotation. You get the galaxy name. Okay, it's also known as the Evil Eye Galaxy. I mean, give you the evil eye, won't we? Right, and then it's a pretty bright galaxy, and this is its position in the sky. Okay, so we save that, and now we'll get out of the annotation. Don't need it anymore. And you see we're getting some wind. Look at that. Ooh, yeah. So I will now save this and then save it exactly as seen. The guider does its best to keep up, but if the wind blows the thing around for a moment, when it comes back, it starts guiding again. But you've got that extra stuff in there that ruins the image. So this filter I have on, the full width half maximum filter, see now it's back to normal, makes sure that any large motion, okay, will not spread that size of that image in the stars images to be much larger. If it does, it means that the stars are moving. And as you can see, these stars are perfect. Really good. So let's save that again. By the way, these are all going up to our directory, and it's going to be called the Black Eye Galaxy, M64 Black Eye Galaxy. And again, go to skytourlive.org, and you scroll down and look for the section that says I want cool photos. And when you do that, those cool photos there's instructions on how to get to exactly what you see right here, and download this just like that. Okay, then you can enjoy it. Now I'm kind of pushing a little bit on this, so you can see a little bit of texture here in the background. Technically it should look more like this, okay, but I'm putting in the texture in just so I can see what else is going on. But for you, it looks like this. So what I'll do is I will save it exactly like this. So this is the actual file that you would want to download. It has the more black background. Let's zoom in like way too far. See what we get. Yeah, look at the detail now in here. We got modeling around the center. Okay. So perhaps gravitational interaction with another galaxy in the past is what caused the Black Eye Galaxy to look like this. Might have been. That's cool. Okay, nice. Hope you guys are having a good time. I know we're trying to find a few objects before, and it didn't work out as how I wanted because some of the objects ended up setting before I thought they would, but that's okay. So we're gonna go to this one next. This one is really cool. Now we also have others out here, like this one here. Yeah, the needle. You know what? I'm changing my mind. We're gonna go with the Needle Galaxy. You have to see the needle, because you're gonna see a galaxy that's right on the edge, and you'll see that beautiful dark line going right down its center. And it'll be the first time I've ever taken a picture of the Needle Galaxy with this telescope that you see up there. So this is cool. We're gonna do it all together. Cornucopia says, I love the jade green color, hints of blue, so pretty. Yeah. This is actually a blue, so we're actually just a little out of actual color rendering. This is not what it should be. But if I have it try to figure out the color, this color is just a little too green. So I would have to bring this down to about here, and actually have to bring this up a little bit. To about there. So now you see the actual color of the galaxy. You can see this blue disk of hot young stars. Okay, so that's pretty. Okay, we're gonna go to 30. We're almost done. Then we're gonna go to the Needle Galaxy, and this one is gonna really knock you out. It's gonna be really pretty. So let's go to 30 here. Yeah, we got it. Okay, good. So we'll save it. Save exactly a scene, and it's not gone because you can just go check it out by going to skytourlive.org right there and scrolling down, and you'll get it. If anyone needs help actually doing that, let me know. I will help you. Okay, now again, go to skytourlive.org for the images, and if you have any questions for me, just do the contact form. I get them. Marianne gets them. Sometimes she'll see them. She's our CFO. She'll see the emails and say, hey, you got an email, and she'll tell me if I don't see it right away. Fred Phonebone, nice to see you. Okay, all right, now let's go back here, do this. There's the nucleus of the Black Eye Galaxy. Now we're coming here, and we're gonna go to the Needle Galaxy, and we're pretty high, so this is gonna be a really very, very good picture of the needle. And there it is. Okay, so let's turn off this, and we're gonna move this down into the view a little bit more. Yeah, and then move it toward the center a little more, and move it down again. You can see it right here. Okay, excellent. So now let's go grab a guide star. Man, it's perfect guide star. Excellent. All right. Actually, that I didn't wait for it to get the new image, because I had 2 seconds. That's my mistake. Okay, now we're going to do this. And it's going to grab this guy right here. All right, we'll stabilize. As it stabilizes, we will be able to do our imagery. Okay, so now I'm going to do a different thing. I'm going to do a 35-second photo. This is going to be able to showcase the faint data that's inside this galaxy that you will then see. And the wind is blowing us around a little bit. Let me try and do 1.5 seconds. Do this over again. And then guide again. This first one may not be perfect. Oh, not bad. But it's got little tails. We'll fix that. Alright, so that's there. Let's do the guiding. Let it stabilize. And then we will bring it back. So we're looking at a galaxy that is literally almost edge on to us. It's slightly tilted, so you can see the nucleus just above the dark lanes of the horizontal plane of the galaxy. All right. Okay, so we have, this is a larger image. So what we're going to do is we're going to fit the height for now, and now we'll see this. Look at that galaxy. So on edge, we're seeing it like this, but it's actually a big round spiral galaxy as well. And if we do this correctly, we'll take this back, reduce the noise. This is in a good position. For our black level, if we ride too far in, we'll lose too much data. If we ride too far out, we induce a lower contrast, and we really want this to be in there. Right 3/4 of the way up that slope. Then we'll get our curves aligned, which are actually pretty good. Look at that. That's pretty. Now, we'll know where this galaxy is. It's called the Needle Galaxy. Okay? And we are in an area of the night sky where there's many more galaxies. Okay, and you can see that there's several others right in here, but you can't really see them because they're much fainter. Let me do a nearby on this and see if we can get that position better. Neat, this is good. And now we'll set the target name. And this is why it's called galaxy season, you know, for this reason. Really pretty. I always think of this, if we're looking at this like this, isn't it interesting to think that maybe someone else is looking at us from here and looking back at us? Wouldn't that be something? Looking at our Milky Way galaxy from there saying, oh, look, a Milky Way, or a galaxy. They certainly don't have our name, okay, but that'd be kind of cool, huh? I'm pretty sure that there's life in a lot of places in the universe. Pretty certain of that. Yeah. Let's see if I can drop this in a little bit closer. Get the image a little brighter. Now you can start to see some detail on the edge here. All the way out to here. This is good. Gino, I don't know if you answered when you're coming out. I may have missed it if you answered. I'm only doing, like I said, 8 things at once, so I should have been able to catch it. I'm sorry. If someone remembers him answering me when he's going to be at contact, when he's coming in, I'm coming in on the 27th, as I mentioned. Okay, the question now relates to how far away this galaxy is. And it is 56 million light years away. So you're seeing something The light that you're seeing here, okay, literally left this galaxy 9 years after the dinosaurs died, and has been traveling ever since through the universe to get here. Oh, wow. So that's how long ago this light that we're seeing right now left this galaxy to come here. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it now. Oh, Matt, who is Water Rat, says, only 8 things at once? Slacker! Matt's a really good high-end model maker. He's worked with me in my visual effects shop and model shop for a number of years. And he, when COVID hit, we kind of had to stop that, but we'll have more projects to work on together, and he'll be able to come back. And I know he wants to. But after calling me a slacker, I'm not sure I'm going to let him. Haha, just kidding. He's a good guy. Metaphysics repository. But time is relative, friend. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. It's relative. Time is relative, no doubt. I'm going to darken up this background space here by pulling this farther up the curve. Look at that. Wow. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna drop this down. Okay, so we can see this in its glory. Look at that. That is beautiful. Just by way of a little introduction to what we're doing, these 2 images are the telescope we're using right now. This is yours truly right here. Hello. This is the telescope control that's basically in the background. It could be minimized and out of the way if I wanted to. But if something happens or goes wrong, I do want to have access to this immediately. But right now, we're good. And then this is, of course, the main view. This is the program that's doing all the stacking and all the analysis for us. And so we have the exposure. Let me come up and talk to you about this. This is our exposure. The exposure, I got my camera. The exposure right here, that exposure time is how long we're exposing the sensor. Okay, but then down here we have the gain, and the gain right here is how sensitive we're making that sensor. And right now we're making that sensor a gain of 200. See right there? So 200 is our gain, and our exposure is 35 seconds. So what this does for us is it allows us to effectively play back and forth with the differences in the settings. Like, do we expose longer, or do we do it with a higher gain and expose a shorter time? So we're doing a moderate exposure with a moderate gain, trying to minimize the amount of digital noise that we'll otherwise see on our final image. And so that's what we're doing. Robert says, we can only see that side, and does it revolve? Yes, the galaxy is revolving, rotating, but that's a sticky wicket, and I'll tell you why. Because we noticed that galaxies seem to rotate like a rigid disk. Now, not fully rigid disk. There is something called differential rotation. The outer reaches of a galaxy are rotating a little bit slower than the inside near the center, but not as much as they should. They should be going a lot faster. A lot slower. But the problem we have, okay, is that when you look at Mercury, it goes around the sun in 88 days. Pluto takes over 200 years to go around the sun. So with the celestial mechanics, when you look at the physics, technically we should see the galaxy working the same way. The inside stars should be moving faster. The outside stars should be moving slower. Okay? However, we don't see that. Not the way it should be. The galaxies that have spiral arms, they would all be wound up by now, because what happens is the spiral arms are rotating around, But the spiral arms are a feature of the galaxy that is caused by something very, very different than a galaxy spinning. I mean, the galaxy spinning is why they're swept out in a curve, but because it's been spinning for over 13.7 billion years, then the spiral arms should have wound up on almost every galaxy. So why do we see galaxies like Messier 33 and other galaxies where the spiral arms kind of are loose and sloppy looking? Something is keeping them from winding up, meaning that those arms, those outer reaches of the arms, are actually rotating faster than they should. Okay, and so what's happening is that conundrum has led to dark matter, and a proposition for dark matter is a halo around the entire galaxy that's actually helping pull along all the outer spiral arm reaches and so forth. This is something that's very important. I'll tell you why. Because I may not necessarily believe that dark matter exists. I also may not necessarily believe that dark energy exists. But something has to explain why galaxies rotate more like a rigid disk than a full differential rotation system. You know, where the outer reaches should be going so slow that the inner reaches could spiral up and wind up, so to speak. It doesn't happen. So that's really the difficult conundrum we're facing in cosmology and astronomy and astrophysics. All three. So it's pretty cool. You know. Let me okay, we have got 17 stacked here. Nice. Tiny bit of oblate stars, which implies that we had just a little bit of a problem. The threshold here for this guy was apparently, yeah, okay. The threshold apparently wasn't quite sensitive enough, and it actually allowed a little oblate sphere to come in. That's that could be one exposure actually, but as we go on, then the better exposures will kind of cause that to get knocked down. The more exposures we take, the better the image will look in general. Wow, hey, this is nice. Okay, so I'm going to save this. Let's go back to our histogram. I'm going to save this with 20, okay, coming up. And then we'll move on to something else. There's 20. Save. And save. Exactly as seen. Excellent. So this dark dust then is going all around the galaxy. Okay, it circles around the galaxy. Alright. And from the edge, we only see it on edge. So we only see what's nearest to us. But because we're looking just over the top of it, it shows that we're kind of looking just at a galaxy that's not fully on edge to us, but it's kind of at a little bit of a slant. So we can kind of get a hint of some spiral arm structure in here, but not much. But that's how it looks. Really cool. Alright, I'll just save with 21 because we could. Alright. Okay. We'll redock it there. And get rid of it. It's not gone though, of course. Need some water. You may notice my voice is rough. It's because I've been talking so much for the last few days that it is just crazy. Ronald wants to see the Hamburger Galaxy. And then Donald Kunzer says, Mark, once again, I want to bring up the new concept of the center of the Milky Way being a large amount of dark matter. If you addressed this before, then I guess you missed it. I did not, Donald. Thank you for bringing that up. First of all, dark matter is something we don't even understand. And for dark matter to have any gravitational influence that's significant, it probably has to envelop more of the galaxy than just the center. It probably has to envelop maybe as a halo around the whole galaxy, and if that's all rotating, then that could explain what is happening here. Okay. Okay, yeah, some tea and honey will help. Thank you. I'm just not going to get up now, B, unfortunately, and go upstairs from the bunker and go make my tea, because you guys are here waiting, and I could never do that to you. I just can't do that. The most I can do is go over there on my shelf and grab like some stuff, which I may do. Let's see. Sam S says 71 people watching and only 4 likes. You know, it doesn't take much to hit that like button. Please do. Thank you, Sam, for mentioning that. I never think of that stuff, guys. You know, I'm just a guy that wants to show you cool stuff. I need a lot of help with actually getting algorithms properly trained and so forth. You know, so I really need the help with that. So I'm a dummy when it comes to some of that stuff. You know, yeah, astronomy, not a problem. I can talk your ears off, but I just can't. I just can't get algorithm stuff straightened out all the time. This is going to be in this area here. It's part of the Leo triplet, and it should be nearby, and it's actually pretty high in the sky. So the Hanbaga, which is how it's said in Japanese, it's called a loan word, Hanbaga, or Hamaga. That's the Hamburger Galaxy, hamburger. And we can actually go to that and check it out. So off we go. We should just literally drop right onto it. It shouldn't be that long at all. Alright. And I'm going to take a short exposure and do that, and then we'll find out exactly where it is from here. It should be close. Okay, let's do plate solve. There we are. How far off are we? Basically just point 2. 20 minutes of arc, so there it is. Not far at all. Okay. And we're doing 5 seconds, so it's gonna show up here. Okay, so now we got it there, and that's perfect. Perfect. So now we'll go here to here, and let's grab the star for our guider. Let's do this. Do we have any stars? That's 1.5 seconds. I'm going to try and go a little higher. Say 2 seconds. And let's see if we can find any. Huh. How about that? We don't have any good stars in here. Let's try something here. Let's go to this for a minute. Alright, hold on. Gotta stop this. Go here. And let's go to this. I may have to disconnect for a moment, but I don't want to. Okay. We are all connected anyway. I'm not seeing any stars. Okay, so we're gonna try something. I'm gonna try and move it a little bit one way or the other and see if that helps. Okay, now let's go back to this. Do this, grab another view, Okay, so now we got something here. Looks like that might be the only one we have. Yeah, that's a star. Okay, stop that. And we'll get going on this image for you. Okay, let's do this. We brought that in just in time. Why ain't it grabbing the star? Yeah, got it. See, there we go. That's the star we want. Okay, good. Alright, so we're going to let it settle down. And now, per Ronald's request, we're going to do the Hamburger Galaxy. This is going to be a 45-second shot because this galaxy has some faint outer reaches that are really cool to see. You'll notice down there in the lower right, okay, right here, we have our progress bar so you can see where we stand with the exposure. Okay, so now we'll come out of this low light mode. We're halfway through and we're going to jump into our live stack. And for those that may not know exactly what the live stack is, we take one image, then we take a second image, align it perfectly, star to star, star to star with the first, and then we take another one, do the same thing. We make an image stack. The more images that are stacked, the more subtle detail becomes prominent. And that's what we're doing. Look at that. Wow. That's pretty. Yeah, really pretty. So you can see the Hamburger Galaxy has actually interacted with the other two galaxies that you see here, right there. This is a famous object trio called the Leo triplet. And the Leo triplet is one of these collections of galaxies that interact with each other. This galaxy is 45 million light years away. This galaxy in the Leo triplet is a similar distance as this one. And this one's distance is about 36 million light years away. This is 45. This is slightly further away. So the Hamburger Galaxy being 45 million light years away, you'll notice it seems to be bigger, and this one's closer to us. Isn't that amazing? So this is a bigger galaxy, and it's had its outer reaches affected by the gravity from these two galaxies. This is a well-known galactic gravitational interaction. All right, and we see galaxies being torn apart by interactions with other galaxies like crazy. It's amazing. You know? Bob, who's C&D boy, says very cool. Yeah. Be in the Shadows says, I need my caffeine. I get a bit silly once the ADHD starts kicking in. It's funny. Running amok. That's funny. I'm glad you're not in control of a telescope tonight, B. You know? Yeah, so this is good. So we're going to bring this up this slope a little bit to darken the background. So you can see all these. These are stars that are being pulled away from this galaxy, pulled out of their home. All the stars you see in this image, these brighter dots, those are all up here in the foreground. The galaxy is way, 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 way back into the far distance. So we're looking through stars in our own galaxy to see this galaxy. So all these stars we see here are in our galaxy, in our space, but these faint fuzzies, these are all the stars in a distant galaxy. We can't even see them as individual stars. You know, sometimes we can see that with the Hubble Space Telescope. We can see individual stars in distant galaxies like the Andromeda Galaxy, but we can't really see them in this galaxy here at 45 million light years away. Pretty interesting though. Mad X is with us. I'm not sure who Matt's talking to. That's okay. Gino says, I don't eat from window-served restaurants. My car won't even go into McDonald's. You know, even if I needed something to drink desperately, it won't make the turn. I'll break the steering column before I go into McDonald's. It won't let me go in. Robert Berry says, discovered by Herschel. Yep. Yeah. I'm reading chat, just so you know. Lori says, we need to find a pancake galaxy. Then we can all talk about stacks. Hey, a very good point. That's excellent. Oh, that's great. Well said. All right, let's see where this lives. Okay, we had one out of range. But we got all the rest are in range. Excellent. Let's see if the color will change. Now that it's full sunset and dark, our color correction will not be fooled by the sunset light, because it tries to counter it and it will throw more green in. Hey Prow, how you doing? Nice to see you. Yeah, this is cool. Isn't this pretty? I mean, the longer we expose now, we're at seven images stacked on top of each other. And we can already see a real healthy amount of detail in here. Now, again, I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it too close to the galaxy to try and make it bright. But if we put it where it belongs, it would be about here. Now, that's okay. We know there's all detail out here, but this shows us that there's more detail in here. We can see a lot of detail in here. You know, but I'm okay with letting it figure out where it should go. And so we don't want to go there, maybe. I will always take it just a little bit to the right. Knock out the noise a little bit. We are at 200 gain. If we went to 600 gain, we get a brighter image, but unfortunately be a problem. You know, because we'd have too much noisy grain. And Marianne is with us. Marianne, what's happening? Marianne was on a podcast earlier tonight. That's why she couldn't join us earlier. Tell us how it went, Marianne. We're all anxious and dying to know. Is Dave still there at the house, Marianne? Dave Rich is another career police officer like Marianne. And they started UAP PD. That's UAP-PD. as in police department.com. UAPPD.com. They explore cases that are reported by law enforcement. And it's interesting to see the cases. I've seen the talks that they give. And oh yeah, to Gino. If you're going to be there on Thursday at Contact, Marianne and Dave are going to speak, and they're going to be there, so it might be cool if you could attend just to check that out. You'd love to see what they do. I mean, they're the direct link into the police departments all over the country to find out this stuff. I mean, where do police go when they see something crazy? They think they go back and tell all their friends? No. You know, they don't. There's still a stigma associated with that. We only just got over the stigma of pilots reporting these types of things. In the past, pilots would get told they have to go see a psychological counselor, and then they're taken off the front line and no flying until they get cleared. Not anymore. Now that we have Navy pilots saying it, who fly much faster aircraft that are much more dangerous, and now they're allowed to say it, and so are commercial pilots. Big change. All right, let's pull this down here. Look at the color. Isn't that beautiful? Notice it's brown. That's because it's all silicates and carbon atoms that are making this color here. Now, there's a lot more atoms than that in there, a lot more different atoms, but mostly it's going to be dominant carbon and silicon based compounds. And they tend to be brown. Yeah, Herschel was a great discoverer. The podcast was amazing, called The X Zone. Rob McConnell. I think I was on that podcast. I think. Oh, you know what's funny? I forgot to tell you guys this. I did Coast to Coast the other night, from 1 to 3 a.m. No kidding. Because it's, obviously it's 9 to midnight. 10 to 1? I don't remember. But anyway, it was 1 to 3 a.m. And so I did the show, and I took call-ins when I was on the show with George Norrie. And one of the guys comes on and says, I worked with Marc Dantonio in Hartford years ago. And I said, yeah, it was 30 years ago, Jimmy. I recognized his voice. Oh, it's Jimmy. Oh, my gosh. I even had I remember his last name and everything. Really good, smart guy. And so I've never been called on Coast to Coast by someone I actually know. And he wasn't listening because of me. I haven't talked to him in over 30 years. So it's really cool. Oh, Rob McConnell mentioned me as well. Okay, cool. I didn't know if he did. Isn't this a pretty picture? Look at that. This particular telescope, which our benefactor who provided us with the money to get this telescope is in the chat. If he wants to say who he is, he's more than welcome to. This telescope is performing very well. Very, very well. Marianne Donald Kunzer is giving you a story. He reported UFO and lost his job. 7 steps to hell and a flying saucer named Floyd. Marianne, look that up right now. This ought to be funny. Not funny by losing a job, though. There's Ronald. Hi, Sky Tour family. Yeah, you've been in here for a while. I've seen you. Look at that beautiful galaxy. This is gorgeous. I'm going to... And this is only 15 stacked images. We're going to save this. Because we have the Needle Galaxy in here. I'm sorry, oh. Yeah, I didn't... Did I change it? I don't think I did. Oh, yeah. I didn't change the target, so I'll do it now. It'll complain. And that's okay. Yes. Okay, we'll save with annotations. There we go. Now we can get rid of it. Now we come back here and we can save with 16. Now again, if you want to know where these are, all you have to do is go to skytourlive.org right there. It's right there. I see it right in front of me right there. And scroll down to the section that says, I want cool pictures. And it'll take you right to our directories here, and you read how to get to them, and you can download them. It's our research server, so you're going to be wading through a few file folders, but that's okay. I think you guys can do that. Okay, Ronald is outing himself. I'm glad we picked this scope out together. Yes. Yeah, Ronald provided us with the funding, and then we figured out what scope would be the best one. he offered his suggestions, and I immediately discounted them, and then we just got the telescope we wanted. I'm just kidding. Right now he's laughing. I can hear his laugh. Yep, beautiful. This is actually one of the nicer shots we've taken of this galaxy. I will have fun processing this later. Look at that. A lot more detail than we've ever seen. This is blue area. This is a section in the galaxy that's actually full of hot young stars, right? So when we see this, this is actually a sorry. When we see this, this is actually an area of star formation that's going on in here that's actually causing these stars to be blue. Hot young stars are blue, okay? And then we have some that are more normal. They're kind of yellowy stars, older stars in here. So clearly we're getting star formation at this end of the galaxy over here. It's really looking cool. Alright, so we shall now save it with 18. Save exactly a scene. Meanwhile, let's go look for something else while we're in here. I want to go back up north. Alright, let's looky. Yeah, I wanted to do koi fish and all that. We gotta also want to look at the Virgo cluster as well. But I do want to still do what I told you before, and that was to well, we got the whale in the crowbar galaxy. These are cool. I haven't done the crowbar is an interesting one, so maybe we'll do that. But the whale is also gorgeous. Ay ay ay, so many choices. Let's save this, by the way. Okay, save exactly a scene. Look at that, that's beautiful. Okay, so now we can stop this and we'll pause this stack. And now we'll be done with this for now, and we'll come back, go to our low light mode so we can get a little sneak peek in the sky. Then jump back into our view here. Thinking maybe we'll do the whale. I haven't done the whale with this telescope ever. Really nice. What's this guy down here? Yeah, the whale is neat. Whale has a lot of detail in it, so that's kind of cool. So we're gonna look at that. All right, we'll be moving right into this in just a minute. Here it comes. Nice. And let's do a 5-second photo. Prowl says the dust really does kind of look like a hamburger patty. It sort of does, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so there it is. I'm going to go to a 1-second shot here. And then we're going to move that up. That should be good. All right, we'll move this over. Then I got to do a placeholder shot to make sure that the galaxy is going to be entirely in the frame. So I'll just do a quick 5-second shot to see. Yep, okay, perfect. All right. So now let's go get our guide star, and we'll do this now. Okay, so we have some guide stars. This is a good one. That's probably going to be the one it picks. Let's go see. No, it didn't. How about that? That's fine. We'll pick it. Alright, and there we go. Okay, so that's a nice peak. Actually, you see that there? Well, it was a nice peak. We want to have a nice smooth peak if we can get it. So here's the whale galaxy now. You can see modeling already. You got this modeled structure. Now, it's interacting with this other galaxy near it called the Crowbar. And the Crowbar galaxy's had its disk just bent right by the gravity of the whale. So let's take a look at what that looks like in reality. So let's now do a 40-second shot of this. Again, we're at 40 seconds at a gain of 200. Let's come out of low light mode and go into our live stack mode. We are guiding here. Right there. That's good. Okay. 1 second. I have to just grab something off the shelf behind me. Okay. Sorry about that. Look at that. This is a galaxy that's, you'll notice a color in the modeling. Because of the interaction with the Crowbar galaxy, this galaxy, and there's another one here too, by the way. This galaxy is undergoing some really intense star formation. The blue hot young stars are there. And you can see the red sections here. These are these red sections you see are actually H2 regions, hydrogen emission regions, regions like stellar nurseries that are here. Wow. So we got two stacked. I'm going to pull this off the peak here a little bit. And pull this down a little bit. Now what's interesting, you see the stars are a little bit elongated. Darn it, I think we can do better. Sorry, I'm going to get out of that. I want you to see this. Like the telescope's pointing almost straight up. So we should get perfect imagery. Well, we still have some wind out there, obviously. It's sticking up as high as it can get, so we're getting it's like a flag. I want you to notice this. Okay, the stars are points, but notice this thing that looks like an out of focus donut, like a star. That's an artifact in the galaxy. That's an actual thing in the galaxy. When I first saw that in the past, I thought, man, is this thing actually, not focused? Who said that? Looks like Donald Kunzer says, looks like the Nautilus from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It does. Here's the wheelhouse. Here's the round window. Here's the bow. Here's the salon window. Here is the fin on the back. And here's the tail. I know the Nautilus from 20,000 Leagues very well because I did one for Paul Allen, who was the co-founder of Microsoft. And it was on the yacht Octopus. It was made for the yacht. That was a cool project. We had a full interior too. We had lighting. We had the organ with carpets on the ground and the couches. It was really, really quite a complete model. I have photographs of it actually on the website fxmodels.com. But it was made for a very high-end person. And they called me one time and said, yes, we'd like to mention that one of our workers bumped into the case and broke a part off of the Nautilus, and we'd like to get it fixed. I think, oh, okay, well, I would like to, I'll come out and do it. Oh, no, you're not allowed on the yacht. Well, how are you going to fix it? You going to send it back to me? Oh, no, we're not going to send it back. What exactly are you asking me to do? And they finally decided they would have someone in-house repair it. I just thought that was funny. So, it was okay with me. You know. One of the movie props I restored for a collector. Remember Arnold Schwarzenegger's shotgun in Terminator? Okay, he would carry in a motorcycle and he would just, shoot with it. Yeah. We actually restored that movie prop and painted it up properly, made it look really good. Get it back to the owner. We did the Draconia from Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. Fixed that all up and relit it and everything because it was lit by fiber optics, like 10 miles of fiber optics cables in this model. And we actually restored it and got it all back to working order. That was a project underwritten by the Boston Red Sox. And then, so we did that. And then the model was seen by Gil Gerard, who played Buck Rogers in that TV series, and by Aaron Gray, who played, of course, Wilma Deering in that series. And it was interesting because I was sitting eating dinner here when all of a sudden the phone rings, and I answered the phone. Hello, this is Mark. Hey, Mark, this is Gil Gerard. Whoa, Gil Gerard, what's up, man? And then Gil Gerard called me at the house here. I was like, whoa, that's cool. We just saw your model here fixed up, man. This is great. You did a great job. Oh, thanks, Gil. And we talked for about 20 minutes and then hung up. I was like, wow, Gil Gerard gave me a call. He's like, oh, before you hung up, he said, I'm going to send you something. Okay, thanks. And he sent me a photograph that he signed. Then it was about a half hour later, I get a phone call from Aaron Gray. Says, hi, Mark. This is Aaron Gray. I was like, hi, Aaron. And she goes, I think you got a call from Gil before? Yeah, I did. Well, I just saw the model, too. It looks phenomenal. I just wanted to tell you how cool it was and how neat it was that you actually, restored it. Like, oh, wow, thank you. It was quite the deal. I mean, quite the project. So that was really cool. Talk to her and Gil Gerard. I thought, whatever, kind of fun. All right, so now you can see all these hot spots in here. These are hot spots that are likely what are called OB associations. Very hot O-type stars with B-type stars, which are also very hot, but not as hot as O's. O's are the hottest and bluest. Okay, but we're seeing them. You're not looking at individual stars in this galaxy. You're looking at star clouds in this galaxy at this distance. And these star clouds are these hot young stars with this star formation that was kicked off by the interaction with the Crowbar galaxy, which will be our next target. We're only going to go to 10 with this, so this will be fine. And let's check this out now. If we pull this in, okay, this other galaxy is also here. I gotta see where that one figures in here. I don't know where this galaxy figures in. Let's see. Is that that's the Pup galaxy. Yeah. Okay, whereas this galaxy here, the Whale galaxy, is 22.5 million light years away. The Pup galaxy is sort of a companion galaxy to it, but the Crowbar is the one that is causing the star formation here, and this Crowbar looks the way it does because of the interaction with the Whale. These two are interacting galaxies. Okay, so I'll save it like this. Save exactly as seen. There we go. Okay. Now let's go look at the Crowbar Galaxy. This is neat. It's a galaxy that is just, I guess, beyond understanding when you first see it, because it doesn't look like it is a galaxy in the sense of a true galaxy. And we're going to do this here. Here we are. Yeah, and then we no longer are guiding. Stop that. Okay, we're going to stabilize here. Right about there. Good. Let's do our 5-second photo. Confirmation photo. There it is right there. Now we'll go to our 1 second and we'll bring it up into the view. There we go. Very nice, very nice. Okay, and then maybe kick it a little to the right. There we go. Fred Phonebone is asking, is there some significance to that lump on the right? Are you talking about in the Hamburger Galaxy? Or are you talking about the Crowbar? David Mason says, impressive view of the Hamburger Galaxy. It's a challenging object to resolve. It can be. Can be. You're right. But nice to see you, David. Fred, tell me if you're talking about the Crowbar, which does have a lump on the right kind of a thing. And there is a big significance to it, yes. If that's what you're talking about. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab our guide star. Lori, thank you for joining us tonight. So nice of you to hang out with us for a little while. Okay, this one probably going to be that guy, exactly. All right. Okay, telescope is still pointing straight up, so we're going to do our best to make sure we don't let wind destroy our imagery. But we're guiding on it now. All right, so now we're going to do another exposure that's going to be 35 seconds, which is also 35,000 milliseconds. So off we go. Exposure's underway. Guiding is done. Out of low light into deep sky. Ta-da. Yeah. Very nice. Okay. On the upper right of the hamburger, that shape you were seeing was due to the interaction with the other two galaxies in the Leo triplet. So it's being tugged and pulled on. So there's significance to it because of that. It shows gravitational perturbation. There's the Crowbar. Now, this galaxy looks like it's been sort of ripped apart. Now, we only have one frame so far, but even when we get the second frame, it's going to look even better. As soon as the second frame comes in, it's going to look really good, better than this. Rule of thumb is if you double the number of the exposures, you have roughly half the noise from the image in the image. So we should get half the noise from one exposure, and certainly we do. So now we just took the second one in, and now you can see it here, and it goes out like that and up like this. This is really wild. And as we do more exposures, you'll see it even better. There we go. When we get to 4, we'll have half the noise of these. Half the digital noise of 2, which we see here. It's this modeling in the background. 3 will be halfway there. Okay. There it is. Notice the noise went down. You can actually see detail in this area here. No surprise, you're seeing hot blue O and B stars, OB associations in here. Because this arm of the galaxy has been torn asunder by the galaxy just out of shot down here that we just imaged, the whale. Okay, 4 exposures done. Let's do this. Let's color correct. So I would say if we look at this galaxy, the crowbar is interesting in the following way. It has clearly been affected by the gravity of another nearby galaxy. And so they're interacting in such a way as they're being torn apart. Right, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. It's being torn apart. So okay, so we're guiding okay here. Very nice. Yeah, that's quite an exciting one. Mike the Stock Impaler. Hi Mark, learned you on the Y-Files a couple weeks back. That was a great few hours. Thank you, man. AJ was fantastic. What kind of magnification is being used for what we're looking at here? This magnification is I calculated it and I forgot. I'm just sorry, I'm making a mental block. It's probably about 100 power on this particular telescope right now, but I can get the actual measure for you in a bit of time here. That's embarrassing. I don't remember what it was. Mental block. What can I say? And to Mike the Stock Impaler, I'm glad you enjoyed the Y-Files basement episode. Okay. Okay. Now we're guiding again. Alright, so we have 8 images so far. You'll notice that this goes all the way out here. See that? All the way out here. So there's a lot going on here. Let's overprocess to see what we're missing. Okay, if you look right here, you can see what's out here very easily. Because your eye's outer reaches of the retina are black and white receptors and can see dim objects better, so that's why. Another way to accomplish this same task is pull this here and then do this. Let's overprocess and you can see the same thing. Now what's interesting to think about is that when galaxies interact, I mean, you're upsetting star systems. You're pulling stars potentially out of the galaxy, and if you do that, you're ripping a galaxy apart. And if you happen to be on one of those stars around on a planet, nothing would happen to you. You wouldn't even know what happened, unless you studied the sky. But you would just be torn out, and you might have a very large galaxy in your sky. That looks like the Milky Way, but it's actually a galaxy that you've now been flung out of. So it's pretty cool. B says to Cornucopia, I dyed my hair in the past, and when it faded, it looked like an animal because of the curly hair. I will proudly accept the name of Gonzo. That's funny. Cornucopia says, so much vivid green. Is that oxygen? Actually, it's blue. It's star formation. So it's a little bit too green right now. And we should actually see more blue in here. So this is a blue color, not green. In reality. Yeah. Okay, we got 12 here. So let's save and we'll do this. Not gonna make this mistake again. Let's actually get its actual, yeah, exactly, Crowbar Galaxy. Set that to be the target name. Save image with annotations, and then we can get out. And now I can save it. There we go. Very nice. Okay. Let's see if we can get any more out of this. We're actually pretty much up the curve right now. Yeah, that's about as dark as we can get it without losing data. Neat, huh? Yeah, 14. We'll save that. It's just interesting that you're seeing this. You're seeing this galaxy, and the light from this galaxy took millions of years to get here. Okay, and in this particular case, with the Crowbar Galaxy, it took 23, actually almost 20, yeah, 23, almost 23.5 million years for the light to get here. So I'd like to, I have a talk I'll be doing out at Contact, which talks about what was happening on Earth when the light we see from many of these different objects left the object. It's amazing. We can actually see things that are so far away that when the light left that object to get here, Earth wasn't even here, and in fact the galaxy wasn't even formed yet. How about that? That's pretty cool, huh? Absolutely true. Okay, so let's go look at another. We did the black eye. That's beautiful. Let's see where this guy is. Yeah, I thought he was close by. Yes, we're gonna look at the sombrero next. This is a cool galaxy. Alright, we got 17 here. We'll save it here. This is a galaxy in turmoil. This one right here. A huge amount of turmoil. Okay. So let's now take ourselves to this next galaxy. And this one is neat. This one is one of those ones that it looks like what it's called. You know? It's called the Sombrero Galaxy. Okay, let's come out of here. There it is. Let's get out of this. We don't need this now. Okay. The Sombrero Galaxy. Holy fee holy, she's cool. And let's bring it up into the view. There we go. Now let's wait for it to stabilize. We should be any second now. There it is. Perfect. All right, let's grab a guide star and get going. That's a good guide star. Okay. All right, so we're on our way with that. And now, this will be a fun one because this one has an interesting look to it. Hubble took a picture of this, Hubble Space Telescope, and it looks really incredible. We're going to do a only a 25-second photo because it's really bright. We don't need to worry about that. So, come out of low light and go into deep sky mode. Hey Leonard, how you doing? Thank you so much for saying another amazing view. That's awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying. There we go. Look at that. Now we're looking from kind of below the level. I mean, it's like this, but it's a little below. So we're seeing kind of up underneath it, so to speak. Kind of looks like a UFO, actually, which is neat. Okay, I'm going to remove the noise by doing this. Okay. Oh, yes, the physicist you had on the basement tonight, I think was, that was good. That's what Gino's saying, yeah. B, am I supposed to laugh at that? Will Mark pull off a hat trick and focus on the sombrero? LOL. Yes, I will be, just for you. Hey Curtis, good to see you, man. Oh, you just watched Project Hail Mary. Excellent. I heard it was a pretty cool movie. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, this is a gorgeous galaxy. In our wide field system, this is a narrow field system. In the wide field system, this is a tiny object. It's just a tiny little thing. But in this one, we actually see it at a size where we can actually work with it and explore it. You know, it's pretty cool. So that's kind of cool, see? Neat. We have what we call focal length. So if I pull it here, it's going to be too noisy, but you can see more reaches. The more reaches, you can see how it kind of curls around under here. You know, really neat. And where it wants to be is going to be right about there. But I don't like it there. Okay, because that's not exactly what I think it should be. I think it needs to be a little bit down here so that we can get rid of the noise and then pick out the detail that's showing up. Yes, B, it's also called the hockey stick, not this one, but the crowbar, yeah. Cool, Curtis. I'm glad the movie was good, yeah. B says, I've been full of puns tonight, Mark. Okay. I accept. It's okay. And Leonard Thuman Jr. says, another amazing view. I mentioned that before. And he says, thank you for doing this. Yeah. The best way you can thank me is by going to skytourlive.org and, you know, giving us a thumbs up on our YouTube channel, on YouTube where you're looking at. You know, give me a thumbs up on there. You know, help upvote me so we can continue to do this and reach the algorithm. You know, we need to reach the algorithm, man. Yep. Wait. I'm saying that about your episode. Wait, is that Gino? Still Gino? He comes in as Gino, and I see the Y files. Who's who? Same person? Yeah, smash the like button, subscribe, man. Yeah, that's cool. Y files has always been one of my favorite channels. I mean, you guys, just incredible stuff, and it's deep. You know, the nice thing about that is that, at the end of the episodes, they go through and they tell you what they found that was true or not true. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, Bob, C&D Boy, says, what causes that perfect line we see? Excellent question. In these galaxies, there's a lot of dust, and it tends to accrete into the disk of the galaxy, because it's in the disk of the galaxy that stars are rotating around the center. And while they're rotating around the center, you have the young hot stars. You also have the massive supergiants, and they will go supernova. And when they're going in the red giant phase, they litter the cosmos with this dust, and the dust is this stuff. It's this stuff. It's this dark brown stuff. So this is basically litter and debris in galaxies, and many galaxies have this. If they have spiral arms, they will very much so have dust like this, which is carbon based and silicon based. If they actually had for instance, stars that did a lot of supernovae, then you'd see a lot of very interesting stellar nurseries and stuff forming from the shock waves created by those things. Now, shock waves don't move like shock waves in air, because you're compressing air and making a shock wave. That's what it is. But in space, where there's no air, of course, you're compressing something else, and that's gas and dust. And as you push gas and dust out from a shock wave or from a supernova, you're compressing it. And as you're compressing it, you're heating it up tremendously, sometimes over millions of degrees. So that is interesting, because that also can spark gravitational contraction of areas within a cloud that's being compressed, and that will spark star formation, and possibly also planetary formation, which is really cool. So that's kind of cool. All right. So in a galaxy like this, where we see basically a lot of dust, and we see a lot of older stars in here, we don't see a lot of young hot stars forming, but they undoubtedly may be, but maybe not as much as in another galaxy, say like Messier 33, the galaxy in Triangulum, or the Crowbar. Any galaxy that's been subject to a shock or a interaction with another galaxy will have some runaway star formation. A very good example of that, actually the quintessential example of that, is Messier 82 in Ursa Major, an exploding galaxy. It looks like an exploding galaxy, but it's not. It's just got a spate of star formation caused by Messier 81, a very nearby galaxy physically to it in the sky. If you were in Messier 82 as a resident, Messier 81 would be this big in your sky. It would be massive, and it'd be a whole galaxy visible in your sky. So that's kind of interesting. So you would see it, and physically you're very close to it in the sky in reality. So it's kind of interesting. Okay, 20 exposures and done. There we go. So we'll save this. I did it again. I forgot to set the target. That's me. So I'll do it again. It'll complain, and then we'll fix it. Okay, we'll call it M104, which is actually better. Set the target name. Save with annotations. And it's going to complain, and yes, I want you to do that. Yes. And then I can save this. Not save again with annotations, it'll do it again. Just save it to the right place this time. And now I will save it with 21 and save it exactly as seen. Okay. So while we're waiting, let's go look for this other one that I want to look at. And this is what do I want to do? I want to go to M82 and show you that. Let's find out where it is. Perfect position. Let's go. So now the telescope is going to reorganize itself to show us the beautiful galaxy that's called Messier 82. It's in the northern part of the sky, so it's pointing toward the north right now. That's going to be just about where it is. Okay, and let's stop this, and let's go back to our low light mode here. All right, and we will. I wonder if I can just actually do this from here. Let me just try to see if it'll work. Yes, it's definitely lots of insects out in Benson right now. Okay, good. All right, so you'll see it right here in the middle of the frame right here. There it is. Really pretty. And now I'm going to show you what an interacting galaxy looks like. All right, and this one is a galaxy that used to be called an exploding galaxy, only because it has really interesting filaments that come out from the north and south parts of it. All right, let's do this and do this. I bet she's gonna take that guy right there. Should, didn't. Okay, so we'll grab that one. That's the star we're going to use. I'll just brighten it up so I can see around it. That's good. And then off we go. Nice. Okay. So now that we're guiding, let's go and do a 45-second photo at 200 gain. So I know it's 45 seconds, but I'm doing it for a reason, because the north and south filament structure needs a longer exposure to see. And what is that filament structure? It is literally gas that is literally expelling from the galaxy on the north and south sides through the center, and it's actually glowing hydrogen gas. Fantastic galaxy. I only recently just started to get a feel for the actual shape and how it was forming. So here we're coming in now. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, first of all, we get rid of this. And there it is. Look at that. This is Messier 82. Look at all the dark dust in here. Okay. Now we're kind of looking... it's sort of not quite on edge. It's sort of slanted. We're tipping it a little, looking over the top. So the nucleus of the galaxy is here, but we're looking at the somewhat disk of the galaxy here. You can see these arms will become more visible in later exposures. Now we got this wacky stuff going on here, and when you look at this later, you'll see it's actually really weird. We got one exposure only here, so now we're gonna have two. It's gonna cut the noise in half. Okay, there we go. And now you can already see some detail in this expelled area at the top, and there's some down the bottom too. Unbelievable. This is just a tremendous galaxy. A lot going on in this galaxy. Now you can actually see how it spreads out in here when I kind of over process. Right. So we'll let this percolate for a while, and you'll actually end up seeing very much of a detail about this and see how it looks. Two Genos? We need the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other. Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right, let's darken this up. Let's darken this bad boy up and allow us to see a little more contrast. There we go. Yeah, the colors are beautiful, Curtis. Let me. One of the things we can do is if we look at objects smaller, we tend to think we can see more data, and it's true. We can see more data if we look at them just a little bit smaller, because our eye is better at seeing it than when you zoom in like this. Notice that we still see that fan of material, but we can't see it with the same detail. And that, by the way, is a satellite way up high. And in the 45 seconds it took to take this picture, we saw a satellite moving there. That is interesting because satellite, that has to be at a very high orbital altitude in order to see it like this. Cool. This is nice. Okay. All right, so I have to. I'm starting again here for a moment. That's easy to do. It's the black screen of the black hole, but we'll be all set in just a minute. I'm bringing it back. So Messier 81 and 82, they're actually, like I said, very close to each other in the sky. I'm actually waiting for to reconnect because we lost our connection, but I will get it back. Okay, let's try this again. Here we go. All right, good. Yeah, we do have Starlink out here. The antenna is right there. You can see the edge of the antenna right there by the telescope barrel because it's also pointing to the north. Okay, let's pull this down. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say this. That's a little better. And then let's move this down a bit, and then let's move this guy, this midline. Okay, we're gonna move this midline down just a little more, just to soften this up so you can see more detail in here. Yeah, so you can see the circular path of the spiral arms here in this somewhat disk of a galaxy, and then you can see this amazing stellar set of nurseries in the middle of this galaxy, with pushing and blasting up out of this galaxy, and you got the same thing going down. It's a very, very strange galaxy. And again, it comes from the interaction with Messier 81, which is also near it. Now I'll give you an example. Okay, so here is the this is what we're looking at. We're looking at the galaxies mesh rate 81, mesh rate 82. There's 81, and there's 82. Right now, mesh rate 82, okay, is 12 million light years away. Measure 81, right, is about the same. It's actually 11.8 million light years away. So these are physically near each other in the sky by far. And that makes them definitely gravitationally interacting with each other. So yeah, neat. That's looking pretty cool. Curtis Horn says, Mark, I'm working on revision 2. Just curious what you know about galaxy rotation curves and the acceleration flora that Mond tries to explain phenomenologically using inertia. I don't. I know a fair amount about rotation curves, actually. So maybe what we should do is talk about that offline, Curtis. Being the Shadow says, Mark, Leonard asked if that oxygen was on the outside of the... I'm trying to read, sorry. On the outside of the hotter than the hydrogen... Get a sentence. Oh, okay. On the outside of it. Hotter than the hydrogen in the middle. I'm sorry, even with the clarification, B, I couldn't figure that out. I apologize. Yeah, I haven't. I still can't figure that out. Is hotter oxygen? Oh. Okay, that's actually now I think. I think I get what you're saying. Let me read the. Let me read more of what you're saying here. Hold on. Meanwhile, this is looking beautiful. Look at that. And now to answer your question, B, and Leonard, the ionization energy at the point in which oxygen will ionize and the point at which hydrogen ionizes, they're actually very close to each other. They're very similar, and I can get you that exact number if needed. Let me see here. Look it up. Just a second. Let me look this up. But they're very similar. Yeah. Okay. All right. The ionization energy for hydrogen is 13.6 electron volts. The ionization energy for oxygen is 13.62 electron volts. So that means that they are very similar in how they and when they will ionize. Now it's interesting. Okay, we'd have to go into looking at the number of electrons that hydrogen has, which is 1, versus oxygen, which is 8, to go through why those are similar. You would think that it might be harder for oxygen to ionize, because it has 8 electrons and 8 protons, but it's not necessarily the case. I would actually have to explain a lot of bonding issues with oxygen to make that understandable. And it's 1:30 in the morning. I'm actually, no wonder, I'm kind of tired. So I'm sorry about that. All right. Well, in any case, this will be the last object tonight. Let me just make sure I'm telling you the truth, because I am doing just one more usually, and I want to see if there's one more. Oh, I guess we could do this. We could do this. There's some nice galaxies here. Okay, we'll do this one. We'll do M81 to show you the galaxy that's causing this galaxy to look like it is. I think that's only fair. That's pretty, huh? That really is pretty. Let's push this and see how bad it is. Yeah, look at this additional stuff out here. See how it's on an angle? Clearly it's interacting. Look at this stuff coming right up out of the top of the galaxy here, and this stuff going down the bottom. Clearly this galaxy is being tugged and pulled apart by that other galaxy. That is just outstanding. Now, but could life exist in this galaxy? Yeah, I mean, it could exist in these areas here, out here maybe. There's just a lot of star formation. It'll be just a very busy galaxy. So life could probably exist. It's amazing, you know. Ronald says, great show, thank you. And no, of course. Alright, so now we're going to save this here. And I finally got the right... I didn't do it again. I did it again! I must be tired. You know, I should have given you the right location, the right thing. I didn't. So I'm going to do it now. Yes, this is M82, otherwise known as the Cigar Galaxy, which is a misnomer. It's not really a cigar. That's just the projection of it on the sky. Okay, so yes, I'm stupid. And we'll save image with annotations. Here we go. Alright, so now let's get out of this. Save it. And then save it exactly as seen. These will all end up in the right directories as we move into it. Okay. Alright, so now let's we can climb on out of this and go into our low light mode here. We'll still see that galaxy right there. And now we're gonna come here and just drop to the next one, which is right there. And that one is going to be very quickly visible. Telescope's going to barely move, and there it is. Okay, now we got to center this up pretty well because it's actually going to be big in this view. You know, so let's go. Let's do this. And move it over, move it over, move it over. That looks good. Alright, that looks like it'll work. I stopped you. Why are you doing it? Oh, missed it. Okay. Okay. Now let's do this again. Good star. That's a good star for a guide star. Alright. Alright, so now we're going to look at M81, and you're going to find a very interesting difference between M81 and M82. M81 is a more massive galaxy, but M82 2 has been ripped apart by this more massive galaxy in a little bit of ways. And we're going to do a 35-second exposure of this one. All right, and we're going to go into our low light mode once again and wait for the first one to show up. And I think you'll find that it's going to be pretty interesting. So kind of the theme of tonight was we're seeing galaxies in interaction, and it's something that happens when galaxies like this move near each other in space, in the universe. So there is Messier 81. Okay, it could technically go up a little bit higher, but it's okay. Yeah, there's Messier 81. So that is a beautiful galaxy. I'm going to hurry up and do this part before I forget. Messier 81. Set the target name. Okay, I'll do the annotation later. This is a good side to see because Messier 82 is out here. It's out there a little bit. And you're going to see some star formation going on in this galaxy too as we get more exposures. You already see some dark lanes, we call them the dust lanes, that are stringing out. Now the galaxy is rotating this way. Okay, here's one big spiral arm coming in here like this. Okay, another one here. So it's rotating that way, right? But one thing to understand is that when we look at galactic rotation, the spiral arms don't just hold the stars, okay, and hold them forever. The weird thing is the spiral arms are not, how do I say this? They're not a persistent physical structure. Now, what does that mean, Mark? Okay, I'll tell you. Spiral arms are traffic jams in the galaxy. Okay, Mark, what does that mean? Okay, let's pretend you're on a highway looking down at rush hour traffic. You see some cars coming in from one side very fast. Then they kind of bunch up and slow down in a traffic jam. But then they eventually get through it and continue on their way. But the traffic jam is still there. It's just sort of snaking along slowly. That actually is a spiral arm. A spiral arm is a location in space where stars get temporarily waylaid. They change their path. They move in more non-linear directions. They kind of move around and they snake around. And the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. But when they get into this traffic jam, they wander a little bit, and therefore they overall move slower. And then when they finally make their way out, they're free to move fast again. Stars orbit galaxies. And the thing that's probably hard to understand, but that's true, is that stars move in and through and out of spiral arms. Okay? Now, because it's a knot and a congestive knot in a galaxy, dust and gas are stuck there because of the fact that when you have red giants in there, they're giving off, they're slowing down, and they're leaving more of this dust and stuff behind as they pass through that spiral arm area, through the traffic jam. And so the dust and gas tend to accumulate in the spiral arms. Furthermore, as they slow down, we also find that the dust and gas are tugged on more, and they actually condense and form more stars. All right, so we see more stars forming in the spiral arms. So the spiral arms are illuminated by the stars that form in them that were stuck there. You know, that they're now stuck there until gravity and other interactions pull them out of there. Okay, so here we see like the spiral arm here. That spiral arm is again an area that's slowly rotating around the galaxy, but the stars in there are moving through it faster probably than the spiral arm. Definitely than the spiral arm. So the spiral arm is a traffic jam of dust and gas in the galaxy, and young new stars that form there. So when we look at a galaxy like this, we see the spiral arms. We have to understand that the spiral arms are not like a place that form and you get stars in there. It's a traffic jam. The stars in a spiral arm are never the same stars. Obviously, as far as our lifetimes are concerned, they are. And as far as several lifetimes are concerned, they are. But they're moving through the spiral arms. And that's something that is one of the fundamental findings of the spiral arms, which implies that there's some different methodologies for how spiral arms formed. One of them is that interaction with other galaxies like M82 could have induced spiral arm formation. We see that with the Whirlpool galaxy. We think maybe the spiral arms in the Whirlpool were induced to form by the interaction of the satellite galaxy that plunged through it. We have not seen the Whirlpool galaxy tonight, but that's an example. So that said, the other idea is that we're looking at effectively a standing wave in a galaxy. It's a resonant wave, also known as a density wave. That's the traffic jam idea. All right. So the stars in a galaxy's spiral arms are just moving through, passing through, just passing through. All right. So that's what we see with spiral arms, and the best we know from spiral arms is that may be what's happening. We don't have definitive proof. It's still one of those things that's acknowledged but not made a tenet of cosmology yet, because we don't quite know. But here's a beautiful blue spiral arm. There's star formation going on in here. You can see dust inside this spiral arm. Look at that. This is beautiful. Wow. Look at that. Wow. You can see all kinds of detail in here. You know, and here you see a knot of stars. These stars formed in the spiral arm here. Very interesting. Just amazing how that really works. Mike asks a good question. If the spiral arms give an indication of the orbital speeds of the stars, then I'm not sure how they can move at different speeds. Well, the spiral arms actually don't give an indication of the speeds of the stars. It gives an indication of the speed of the spiral arms. The stars are orbiting at a different rate. Give you an example. We've gone around our galaxy about 19 and a half times since we formed. Okay, every 200 and some odd million years, we circle a galaxy. Now, if spiral arms were tied to our rotation, we would have been winding up our galaxy for the last 4.6 billion years, that we know of, because we've gone around the galaxy 20 times, roughly. So what about stars that may have gone around the galaxy, 90 times? They would also help wind up spiral arms, but they haven't. So the spiral arms are a feature of a galaxy, but not an indicator of its motion. There is differential motion on the outside, so they are moving a little bit slower, but not as slow as they should. So something's pulling it along, and that's where the whole dark matter thing comes from. Ta-da! Okay, but that's another topic for another day. I just think it's pretty cool. So, hopefully that helps answer your question about the spiral arms and the star movement. Okay, the spiral arms are an odd feature in many spiral galaxies, but they are not tied to the star rotation in the same way that you may have thought in the past. Okay, if they were, then the galaxies would have spun up and all have tight spiral arms after 13.8 billion years of the universe being here. Because in just 4.6 billion years, okay, literally, a third, like less than a third of the age of the universe, we've gone around the galaxy 19 and a half times. We would have wound up our spiral arms long ago, in that sense. So I think that's kind of interesting there, Mike, and I hope you understand that. And if you have any questions, well, guess what? You can go to skytourlive.org and hit the contact form and ask me. And by the way, that's my email down there at the bottom. See it? contactskytour@gmail.com. You're welcome to write me, any of you, and ask me questions about this stuff. I'll be happy to answer you, because astronomy's my passion. It's almost 2 a.m. and I'm still up. Why is that? I was up at 7 a.m. Yeah, that's bad, isn't it? I'm working on very little sleep. Leonard says, would it be possible for the arms to spin in opposite direction than the planet stars since it's a standing wave? Maybe if there were some really weird circumstances to cause that, Leonard, it's possible. But keep in mind that the way solar systems form, the planets typically will all go the same direction around the star unless something tumultuous happened. Like Uranus is almost an 89-degree inclination compared to the other planets, not in terms of its orbit, but in terms of its poles, probably from a collision with something early on in its existence. But they all go, in a particular direction around the star. Every solar system so far does. The reason has to do with accretion disk physics. The way an accretion disk, a disk of material around the star, forms, it will tend to move in a particular direction. Now, under some strange circumstances, I could imagine we might have two accretion disks, an outer one and an inner one, that may move at different rates or at different directions. We haven't found anything like that, as far as I know, but I could see that could happen if the circumstances for the origins of that system changed partway through. And maybe that could happen, but I'm just hedging my bets on that. I can't say for sure. What do you think of this, guys? Is that not a beautiful galaxy? Let's see about getting a little more detail out of this. Let's pull this in a little. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow. That's a beautiful galaxy, guys. Really, really pretty. Let's see how many we have stacked. 21. Wow, not bad. So we'll save that. Save it exactly as seen. And wouldn't you know it, I'm getting my second win now. Of course I am. Oh, yeah. By the way, I gotta tell you guys, I met with a state representative the other day who asked me to go to lunch. And I live in Connecticut, and they are starting a UAP task force here in the state, and they would like me to be part of it. So I'm going to do that. Now, I'm MUFON's chief photo and video analyst for Mutual UFO Network, and I've been that since 2008. And I've been doing all kinds of investigations of extraterrestrial possibilities in life. If you saw the Y-Files show, as some of you have, you know that we talked all about that. So I'm going to be on this UAP task force, I think. So we'll find out moving forward. But the state is actually paying for a UAP task force, Connecticut. Now, why are they doing it? I think because the Washington scene is now has now made UAP and UFOs a hot topic. So, not to be left behind, the state of Connecticut is doing it too in a way that hopefully will be a really big thing. I'd like to thank State Rep Joe Hoxa, who has done this for me. His last name is spelled Hoxsa, Joe Hoxa. And you can read all about his UAP proposal and bill that got passed, I believe, at his site. So you can look him up. So that'd be kind of cool. And I'm looking forward to it. Wow. And I gotta tell you, you see where the telescope's pointing? It's pointing kind of more up. This is a really good view of M81 that we're getting right now. Really good view. And because we're not doing 250 gain, but 200, slightly less noise, and we're seeing a little more detail. Ideally, to take pictures with this particular camera, you would take pictures at 100. However, that means that you make the sensor less sensitive. And if the sensor is less sensitive, then you won't see as much detail. But you won't get very little noise. You get very little noise. It's optimal at 100. So at 200, it's not that bad. As you can see, we can get rid of it. We see details that are small in here, which is really nice. That's cool. All right, so let's see if we get rid of the noise. How far down do we have to go? How about there? So about here gets rid of the noise entirely. Yeah, so we're moving in to that good point. So I can actually take this in. Excuse me. Yeah, really good. Wow. Okay. So let's do this. We'll say 27. Save. Save exactly as seen. And that's good. Wonderful. Man, it's pretty. Okay, guys. And as before, I will let you see us close up because we're ready to do that now. So thank you for joining me. And now you can see our close process. So we're going to close up the telescope right now. Actually, first things first, let me save with 28. Yep. And then we'll climb out of here. All right, do that here. Go to our 1 second shot. And that's our low light mode here. Okay, that's our low light. Okay, so now we can come in here and we can park the telescope. This is a position the telescope knows. It's preset, and it actually is setting itself up for going to sleep. So once that comes down, okay, it'll stop. You'll see the word park show up here illuminated. There it is. So that puts the telescope down below the top of the building. Okay. And then this guy is now looking at the wall of the building. And we can get rid of this. All right. Yeah, my okay. All right, so now I can bring up our program, our control program. I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna come in here and go this way. There we go. All right, so now what I'll do, grab this again. There's a little delay right now for some reason. Thank you. Then get out of that. Get out of this. Very good. And now we can bring up the program. This is a little control program I wrote to control some basic operations here. And now that telescope is done, I can disconnect it and it'll go to sleep. Ta-da! And then I will close the top because I'm going to turn off power first. Now I can turn off power. Power's been shut off. And now you can watch the roof close. There it is. 2,600 miles away, close in the roof of the building. That's cool. Yeah, don't get hit by the roof. Here we are. And so now, if we move this over, I'll move that top camera over a little bit. You'll see the outside here. There's a dome up on the hill up here. Okay, you can see that dome right here. Okay. And now what I'll do is I will turn on the night vision view now that we're closed up. It doesn't matter. Okay. And now because we're on this side of the building, when we're open, we can disturb other people with the infrared camera. So I'm not going to do that. So let's see here. So we are good there. So now what I'll do is get rid of things. So we're done. So guys, thank you so much. This was great to have you with me tonight, and I really appreciate your coming with us. Make sure you like and subscribe. I mean, you hear that on everybody's channel. Like and subscribe, but I really want you to like and subscribe. So just give me a thumbs up if you could. That takes no time at all. You know, it helps us. And I will talk with you guys the very next stream. We usually go every other day. Next time, I have a feeling I'm going to have a set of a couple days that I'll always do a stream. So we have a permanent couple of days that we're always doing streams. Okay. Now, because we're weather dependent, I have to have something if we don't have clarity. So I'll try to have something on those days as well. It may not be as exciting a stream, or it might. You never know. You know, I do have a physics simulation system where we could simulate throwing the moon at the earth and see what happens over time. Or anything else. We could throw all kinds of things at each other. We could create stars. We can move stars into orbit with other stars. We can put Betelgeuse where the sun is and see what happens. Do all kinds of things like that and watch in real time what actually happens. Yeah, I know. Tease. I'm a tease. Alright guys, you guys have a good night. I will talk to you later. I'm so happy you could join me tonight. So long everybody, and thanks all for coming out. Bye bye.
Stars so bright in the sky, on Arizona nights they fly. Nebulae in colors rare, galaxies beyond compare. Sky tour in the night so clear, brings the universe near. Real-time wonders to see, streaming light for you and me. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand new. In the dark, the night unfolds, stories of the cosmos told. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Far away, up so high, across the stars beyond the skull. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Lift your eye up so high, across the stars beyond the sky. Sky tour shows us the way, every night a new display. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours.